first thing women notice? Your face. That's why you got to take care of it. Simple things like getting a haircut, grooming your face, and brushing your teeth is important. But there's one thing guys miss and that women always notice. It's when a guy isn't taking care of his skin. That's why I'm so excited to have T. Shanley as a sponsor of today's video. T. Shanley simplifies the process of taking care of your skin. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. Seriously, I don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: daily face wash, exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with an SPF 20 and a PM moisturizer. But and to make it dead simple for you guys, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. But because T just sponsoring this video, they're offering you an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description and get 40% off your first skincare system and free gift. Plus, as a member, you'll get 20% off for life. By the way, one of their new gift options is a silicone body scrubber, which is a $20 value and a complete game changer. Once you use this, you'll never go back to a regular loofah ever again. So don't wait any longer. Click the first link in the description to start your skincare journey today.
It's go time. What's going on, family? How y'all doing? Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Miss Kelly J, Ty, Allie, Viz, Luis, that's Simone, Brittany Gold, Hinky, myself, the future. Yeah, welcome. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Good.
Okay.
Blessed and highly favored.
Amen.
Right.
Blessed and highly favored. Somebody say amen.
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 I would tell
Praise
y'all
the
I
Lord.
was inquiring if somebody had said amen or not.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Amen. Hallelujah. All right, so it's good to see you guys on this Wednesday. Going on chaotics in the chat. So to you, do me a favor, you guys, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel on your way in. Excellent show ahead for you guys. Actually put this one together on the fly. Sometimes you just got to let go and let God, right?
Bars.
Okay, what amen is that, man? Y'all left me hanging there. I feel like I was taking myself to church.
Praise the Lord.
We seen the demons turn their heads when I said that, but it's okay. We're going to see if we can reel you guys back in. Have a great sermon today. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Man.
All right. See what we got going on here. How y'all doing on this Wednesday? And a rough Tuesday. Rough morning. Some folks I see.
I know some people doing great today.
And who might that be, Miss Di Simone? Who's doing
The
great?
Republicans, they loving it. They're enjoying it. They're having a wonderful day.
Are you a Republican?
I am a human citizen. I am a citizen. That's what I am. I'm a citizen of the United States.
All right, I like how you worded that. Safe. Okay, you pick a side, man. You don't want to get criticized. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's it's a rough moment for some people, man. One of the first things that Miss Kelly J did was she did a well-being check before we actually went live. And she said, "How are we doing today? How are we doing?"
I mean, we're here, so I think everybody's doing okay.
I don't think they want to hear that.
Despite, you know.
I think they want to let it out.
Well, let's let it out then.
Okay.
Let the Lord use you.
I like that, man. I like that. You cool, Brittany? You good? Hear me, Brittany? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I think she froze.
I think she froze. Yeah.
Okay. Well, while she unfreezes, somebody get the fire so y'all can thaw out. But T just having early Black Friday deals and half off skincare routines. That link is in the description. Make sure you guys go ahead and click that. Working in Temple says it's a Christian channel. Man, it depends on what day it is. You know, sometimes we take the biblical approach, and sometimes it's chaos. You just never know what you're gonna get, man. But this is a channel. Welcome to all. You know, we don't discriminate. Like to have a conversation. I'm bringing you there. Good.
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm working Tempo responded back with a emoji. All right. Welcome aboard, man. So now that we got Brittany going, Aisha should be popping in soon. I know she said she'll be on probably about 8. Yeah, make sure y'all show her a warm welcome when she arrives. But as I stated before, it's been a rough morning for some folks, man. Unfortunately, I've seen people quitting social media for a while. I've seen people just in disgust, disbelief. They almost had the same response and reaction as Kamala. They just walked away from it all. They
Kamala.
didn't really want to address anyone until the next day. So maybe tomorrow or later on tonight, we might get some of them folks back to a reality because, times have changed, man. But with that being said, man, I think it is an important day for us to check on some folks because I haven't seen it like this. I don't think the last presidential, I haven't seen it like this. I mean, people are in tears. Have y'all checked on y'all family members?
No. My grandma texted me this morning telling me, I'm crying. I'm like,
is it that surprising though?
No. She didn't even run the entire campaign. She's a Black woman.
Thank you.
So it's like, what did you expect? And she didn't even have enough time.
This the good boy country.
Yeah,
you
like
thought
70% of this country is white. So
right, you thought they were let a Black woman
run all people.
Why?
Black man, Black
man. Okay, they already took it too far with a Black man. They was feeling some type of way. A Black woman, y'all doing too much. You're doing too much. But I mean, it was a good run. It was really close for her to get in the game so late.
I mean, white people are just trying to hold back right now, as if minorities aren't used to this.
Yeah,
it's the same shit, different day.
And it was some statistics that came out, and white men and white women had the highest percentage of voting for Trump. Everyone else.
Y'all realize she was a presidential candidate last year, and she didn't make it through the primary. You realize that, right? So
exactly.
The only reason she got as far as she did now is because it got handed to her. We need to stop this shit, man. I understand y'all want this woman to win. It wasn't. She wasn't. She wasn't
Trump to win. Yeah, when I was listening to my Republican, they said Kamala chose the wrong house. That was her issue. She had the right qualities. She just chose the wrong house. She should have been on the Republican side. Because they said the Democrats been messing up so much. They was like, she just really she's running under the wrong house.
No, she's not running under the wrong house. I don't understand why we're ignoring the fact that she just was not a good candidate. Like we can make up all the excuses of her being a woman, a black woman, all this other stuff. Honestly, just from watching how she handled it, realistically, taking emotions out of it, taking out the fact that she's black or claiming to be black, whatever, she just was a poor candidate. Like that's all it was, point blank, period. She couldn't do an interview. She was not authentic. You know, it was unrelatable.
Trump is?
She absolutely.
Trump can answer questions?
Absolutely.
And I think that's why so many people, women, are like hurt behind it. It's just like
Trump has been a businessman for 40 years. To think that he can't.
Even at the polls yesterday, black men.
Is it me or is she froze?
I'm sorry.
You're freezing, Brittany.
It might have been freezing on me.
I think she's delayed. I think she's delayed.
Brittany,
okay,
do me a favor. Okay. Go back to the modem, unplug it, wait 10 seconds, replug it back in, and start over.
Well, I think that might take a long time, Luis. I think.
Yeah, she's just trying to get her point across, Luis.
Am I good now? Or am I
go ahead. Go ahead, Brittany.
Go ahead. Say what you were saying.
Go ahead, Brittany.
Going back to the point of why it's been a rough. I'm sorry, y'all. It keeps going back and forth.
Okay, look, this is what you can do. Just hit the refresh. Just hit the refresh button. Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm gonna hop off and hop back on, and hopefully we won't have the problem of me being delayed.
Cool. Trump has been a successful businessman for over 40 years. To think and say that he can't answer a question is a wild statement. Really.
How many bankruptcies did he have again?
Thank you. People kill me with that.
So let's acknowledge.
Wait, let me ask you this, Biz. You said he's been a successful businessman for 40 years.
Hold on, love.
You gotta hold on. Let me acknowledge that first, because I looked into why people keep saying the bankruptcy. The bankruptcy was for hotels and casinos. These are $100 million businesses, hundreds, on top of the 200 plus businesses that he has. So to bring up 6 bankruptcies for hotels and casinos, that's an insane comparison. Like you can't even bring that up, because the amount of money that goes into it to run it is something that you have to bankrupt out of. So just to just say, oh, he has 6 bankruptcies, that don't mean shit. It's for fucking hotels and casinos.
All right, go ahead, Brittany. See if you're there.
Still frozen.
Oh, still frozen.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I think I'm still frozen.
Yeah. I think you're okay now. Go ahead.
Okay. I was in and out. So what was just said? Do you mind repeating yourself?
He was just saying that the bankruptcies were just basically part of the game. You know.
Can somebody repeat themselves?
And you was about to talk about what you saw at the polls. When you said you went to the polls, you seen a lot of black men, something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so not really related to that, but I was just going back to what you were saying earlier, Lapeef, about it being a rough day. And I think, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but a lot of women are taking it hard because we've been hearing this rhetoric spread that, you know, we're not going to let a woman run our country. You know what I mean? People aren't making it about her policies and what she stands for. I really think the sentiment was people just did not want a black woman to run this country. You know what I mean? And that's very hurtful. And it's almost like, dang, y'all got some unresolved mommy issues or something. Like, what is the issue? Like, and I keep hearing people say she's just wasn't the right candidate, but nobody, especially among the Black men and men of color, can really state why. She's not a good candidate. But why? Why? You know what I mean?
So
maybe we can have that conversation. But I think that going back to something I said on the other session. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead and finish. Go ahead and finish.
We good? My internet don't want to act right tonight, y'all.
Yeah,
you're
doing
quiet, huh?
That's the good Lord working.
Don't do that.
Right. Cut it out.
No, again, no. She's simply not a good candidate because she wasn't transparent. She wasn't authentic. She wasn't genuine. She went back on a lot of the things that she stated that she wouldn't do and would do. She flat out told Black people, I'm not doing anything for Black people. Ha ha ha. You know, it was a lot of things that that she just did as a candidate that just did not look, it didn't look good. It didn't look good. It didn't feel good. She just the flat out pandering, you know, it just, I mean, we had Glorilla and Meg the Stallion performing, twerking on stage for a presidential rally. Like, that's not a good candidate. Like, if you have to do that, then that makes no sense. Obama didn't have to do that.
Trump did. That's the reason why he had Amber Rose there too. He pulled out all the antics she did.
Amber
what Trump
Rose
did.
was
She played
not
the game that
twerking on
Trump was playing.
stage.
But
Amber
Amber
Rose
Rose
wasn't
ran a
twerking on
whole
stage.
campaign. He had someone up there talking about who didn't have nothing to do with politics. A woman who ran a whole campaign with a big ass tattoo across her forehead. They both was playing the same game.
And a lot of those women participated in that whole campaign as well.
But that's not the topic right now. We talking about the dumb shit they was doing and the antics they were doing to get their supporters. They both was doing dumb shit.
You can't do that.
They both was doing dumb shit.
You can't in one breath. You can't say that that's not the topic and then
that is the topic. Them doing dumb shit in order to bring people on to their campaign. He's saying Kamala did some. What's her name? Kamala did some dumb shit.
Kamala.
So did Trump. They both was doing crazy. Trump was throwing chicken in the crowd, bruh. He came out throwing chicken to the crowd. Like, we can't talk about antics because Trump got the.
You ain't gonna get it once she gets started. Ain't no stopping her. You ain't gonna.
Oh no, I know. I remember her.
No, I don't really know too much about politics. I'm trolling. I'm just trolling about.
So,
just throwing a child like Luke.
So as you guys can see, you know, there has been a lot of pain. Even Brittany has spoke on it as well. It's just pain around the social media in the world. You're seeing it all in the stories, all in the DMs. We'll play this clip, man, because the thing about it is that I'm just wondering, as men, like, should we be more concerned about the women's feelings and how they feel? No? Well, I'm gonna play this clip and then we'll go ahead and talk about it. Does that sound? I see Luisa, you already ready to.
Yeah, I wanted to say something, but I'm gonna let you go ahead. Well, no, can I say it real quick? It'll be quick.
Yeah, every time you say something, it's a monologue. But go ahead.
I got you. So it seems like the majority of what she was running off of was women's rights, right? To me, it feels as if the very things that she stands for and that she was promoting goes against women's rights. So if her party is for allowing men to compete in women's sports, that goes against women's rights. If her party is for men going into women's bathrooms, that goes against women's rights. If her party is for allowing men to go into women's prisons and impregnate women, potentially raping them while they're in there, that goes against women's rights. So the fact that men are saying, look, we are not standing for that, we don't agree with that, and then for women to say, oh, y'all don't y'all don't believe in us, y'all don't want to protect us and all this other shit. And it's like, we are. But the fact that y'all want to go against us for a person that literally wants to go against every God-given right towards women for men to protect them is confusing as hell, in my opinion.
Okay, Lapeef, real quick, I just want to piggyback off of what Dia is saying, or what he just said. I understand that perspective, right? And that's something I didn't agree with her campaign. But then let's, first and foremost, all of those things are already happening. Okay. Men are already playing in women's sports. They're already putting men in women prisons. All of this stuff is happening. It's not that once she became president, she was going to allow all of this to happen. It's already happening. All right.
Well, no,
It's already
it was happening under Biden's administration.
It was under the Obama administration. This goes back that far.
Right. It's been happening for a while, right? But under Trump's administration, they were talking about getting rid of a lot of things that women depend on as far as our health care is concerned, right? And by you guys putting him in office, that also affects not only that, but also our children, their education, how they may be treated in the future, what type of education they may receive as far as colleges are concerned, because it's a lot of things that he's trying to push in the 2025 bill. And I'm not sure how many of you have actually read it and done some research on it. Project that he's hoping to push through, right?
Project 2025.
Yeah.
That's been.
You know what's so interesting about that statement you made? You know what's so interesting about that statement you made? We had Obama, okay, we had Trump, and then we had another 4 years. So we've had 3 terms of the Democratic Party. And the thing that you said about protecting our children and their education, why are still young black boys reading on the sub 4th grade level after all these, parties
have been happening way before this, though, since the No Child Left Behind.
It hasn't gotten better. That hasn't even gotten better. So you can't
say
it
did it get better when Trump was in office for 4 years?
All of a sudden, you can't say that it goes against their educational betterment. When in reality is a lot of parents, unfortunately, today, and I have said this in the past on the show, are reliant on the school system to raise their child. They're not raising them at home. They're not reading to them at a young age. They're not checking their homework. They're not spending time reviewing the syllabus, calling the teacher and having their personal contact information and understanding and checking up once a month, bi-weekly, etc., to ensure that their child is on track to progressing, getting good grades, etc. Let's be very, very clear. A lot of parents are operating on autopilot mode and expect that the government, the school system, some spiritual animal that doesn't exist that I haven't seen yet to take over their child's betterment. You expect other people to have a better investment in your child than you.
It's funny
that to me is crazy.
It's funny that you say that because I was just saying the same thing that you said, and I agree with that 100%. A lot of people is using it as crutch, but there's a lot of people out here that actually need that. It's a lot of people out here that's dependent on those resources, and they're working daily, nights. They need those resources. They need that free lunch because the way it is, it's hard to make it out of the lower class and the middle class. And I see a lot of people down here just that's what I'm worried about. But the people that I'm surrounded by, that when I go to these schools, the kids that I have to use my PTO money to get them lunch and pay for their field trips and pay for their school spirit shirts because their parents can't afford them. It's like, yeah, I understand that you want to make the mother better, but it's other mothers out here that's not really just like being lazy, and they really dependent on those resources to get them out their situation.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip. Are you sure you there, Brittany?
I'm here.
Okay. You on that phone?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm on the phone now. I'm about to get on camera.
All right, I'll play this clip. As I stated earlier, Aisha, and you just tuning in, I don't know if you've been watching or not, but the ladies are in pain, man. They are in pain. They are tired eyes and a tired mind. Women are exhausted today.
Women and women's issues because they're women's issues. It doesn't matter that I got 8 sisters. It doesn't matter that I got a wife. It doesn't matter that I got a daughter. It doesn't matter. My proximity to women does not matter. Am I caring about their issues? I care about their issues because they are women and women are important and women deserve great things, right?
I had a conversation recently with a woman that I really respect, and she was like, look, Black women have always prioritized our Blackness before being a woman. Yeah. In this season, though, I really need y'all to prioritize what's on the table for us as women, right? Understanding that, like, and it's the truth, Black women have shown up for us. All day, every day, super consistently. At the expense of themselves. And that's what she was saying to me. She was like, we have prioritized Blackness over the issues that are important to us as women.
I've seen the post of so many friends today. And the results of the election were telling. And I'm not going to talk about that, but what I'm going to say unequivocally is thank you to Black women. And I want to tell you, do not allow the results of yesterday to distract you, dissuade you from the greatness and brilliance that you are. To the women that have loved me, those are my family, those around me, my friends, thank you. And there are men out there like me who will also stand with you, before you, behind you, and beside you to make sure that you don't feel what I know you probably feel today. Don't own that. That's not your responsibility. Thank you for taking on the task of putting the country on your back. And even though we didn't land where we wanted to, I believe that there's better coming for all of us. So stay focused and we'll continue to fight together.
You know who's not having a hard time today with whatever the result was today, that I just finished having like maybe 2 hours of conversation prior to getting on this live, are married women. Married women are not having issues with whatever the result was. At least that's the sentiment that I've just been hearing that they've shared.
Can you please elaborate? Because it doesn't make a woman a wife, but that's a different conversation. Please explain what you're talking about, because some of us have been married for years, over 10 years, and some of us, have never been married. But please explain what you mean by that.
I mean, there's nothing really to explain. It's not really my gripe to share. I've had conversations with a few that I know, and I've had asked them the question, like, what's your stance on the aftermath? And a lot of them were like, well, it's disappointing in the direction that I went. I was voting for women. Some were voting for Trump. Some told me. But they didn't seem bothered. And I asked them, like, why are you not bothered? They're like, at the end of the day, I'm like married. So I have more. One of them said, I have other more important concerns than getting roped into the debate on, what women want to do. Like, they feel secure in their situation. That's essentially why I got it. Don't shoot the messenger.
So let me ask you a question. In 2024, what are these women issues that women are still dealing with in 2024? Hey, don't all of y'all speak at once. I'm just trying to figure this out.
Bodily autonomy.
I mean, men are still getting paid more than women.
I was going to say unequal pay.
So we got two things that was named. That's Ali, you said body autonomy, right? And then somebody said equal pay. Okay.
How about equity across the board? I mean, that's just right off the top of our heads, but when you really want to look at it, equality and equity are two different things. For the longest, men have been leading in like salary and rights and all sorts of things. We still don't have a female president. So, I mean, that's enough in and of itself to talk about what we're still fighting for in the country. Like,
well, did you just say right?
Maybe have a good enough candidate to win the election, ma'am. If If you don't have a good enough candidate, you don't deserve to have a female president.
Tell me, in all the years that we've had this presidential election, a woman has never been good enough? Come on. Really?
How many have ran? Ma'am, how many have ran?
That, but that's another problem in and of itself.
Well, then
it has nothing to do with qualifications. And it has nothing to do with qualifications.
If you're not in the race, you can't win the race.
Okay, so I'm gonna let that rest there because we can go down that rabbit hole, but that's a bigger issue.
I mean, y'all did vote for Hillary, though.
But Brittany, you know, anyone can run for president, though. You can run for president.
And when you start peeling the onion and the layers that go along with that, then we're going to start uncovering a lot of other issues and why women have not ran.
But women have ran though. We now just
now you want to make excuses.
Hold on, y'all.
Hold on. So we now have seen 2 women run for president to where they were on the presidential ballot. So what? I don't understand what do you mean by that?
You gotta look at.
Do you realize black men had that same issue? But guess what we end up doing? Guess what we end up doing? We kept going. Jesse Jackson tried. Obama ended up was successful in the situation. You got to keep pushing, ma'am. You named off one black woman that supposedly black woman that tried, and that was the only one. So now it's oh well, shit, they don't like us. We gonna give up. Take your ball and run. You sound just like the woman did last night. Kamala didn't want to give her speech, but she's a quitter. She's not a fighter. I don't want. Let me finish, ma'am. I wouldn't want a woman like Kamala to be the president of the United States. She's not a fighter. She was giving up. She didn't want to come to her own alma mater and have the speech. Left them people there for over 6 hours waiting to hear her sorry ass, and she scattered off and sent that brother out there to give up a concession speech because her sorry tired ass didn't want to do anything. Why would I want a person like that to lead my country? I wouldn't. She's a quitter. I don't want a quitter as a president. I want somebody willing to fight for everything and all things America. And she's not ready for that just yet.
I just wanted to point out that she is not the first black woman to run for president. Shirley Chisholm was the first black woman to run for president. So we've had 2, and Shirley Chisholm was fully black.
Right, so. and that was what, back in the 80s, the 90s?
I got a question. When
so
did
what,
the black before her
time? So, but I'm just saying, it's a battle that's continuously trying. I'm not saying that
presidential ticket.
We're going to stop.
Was she the Democratic representative?
Who, Shirley Chisholm or Kamala?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Shirley Chisholm.
Yes. I believe she was the Democratic representative.
She didn't represent the Democrats for the president. No, she didn't. She was on the ticket to represent the Democrats. We have other minorities. Y'all had a good old holy for white woman last year. She couldn't win. I mean, when Trump first
in 1972, this.
Right. So
it was before a time, but like Brittany was saying, when you're running for president, there are many factors we have to take into account. It's not only are you interested, do you have the public's view, are you known, what have you done in the community, but also do you have the monetary backing, or at least people who are going to invest in you.
But Ty,
Kamala was in a place where she can get invested in. Obama was in a place where he could already be invested in. He was already a senator in Chicago. People already knew him. Shirley Chisholm didn't have that big of a backing. She only was able to go so far. So the next thing, I'm not saying that at this point it's just over with. You know, I'm not crying because Kamala didn't win or Kamala didn't win. I expected that. I'm actually proud that she got as far as she did. Like, well, it shows that America is getting a little bit better when it comes to having a minority and a woman in the office. I don't think it's something we should stop. I do think our next candidate should be maybe a better candidate, somebody who's not just thrown in there at the last minute, someone who has a full run so that we can really see what they represent. But there are more things that go into factor. Like Brittany wouldn't just be able to step up and run for president and actually be on the ballot, unless she had the backing. Like she said, it's layers.
That goes across the board for all people, though. That goes across the board for men.
I'm not saying it's just a woman thing. It goes across the board. That's why a lot of libertarians don't make it to the ballot. We don't even know them because they don't have the backing.
So, Ty, let me ask you this. Do you think that if there was a man as a vice president, they would have just automatically put him in there on the ticket to represent the Democrat? No. That's what they did for Kamala. They gave her a gift. She wasn't even good enough to win the Democratic representative when Biden was running against Trump. She wasn't even good enough. Didn't get not near one vote. Where was the sisters at the end? Where was the sisters at the end to try to get her up there to run against Trump? Y'all wasn't in there. Y'all didn't believe in her because y'all know she was a fraud. But guess what? Biden, like he said, I'm going to give a woman a call. He even got the wrong vice president. I don't think he should have got her. She was a trash-ass vice president. She didn't do shit then. So why do you think she was going to do anything if she going against Trump? It wasn't even, I knew he would go in.
They'll vote for Hillary before they do her.
Biden had a better chance against Trump.
Can y'all tell me what Trump did in his presidency?
You said what, ma'am?
What did Trump fix in his presidency?
What did Trump fix?
What are some things that Trump has fixed in his presidency? Because Kamala didn't have a chance to be president, but Trump did. So what did he do while he was president?
The First Step Act, I think that released 30,000 black men.
He let go of a lot of black men from jail
So
for misdemeanor.
what does that mean? That's really good.
And the same, them same black men that Kamala locked up in California for the possession of marijuana. Yeah, that same law he passed.
And the same man that told
this money.
And the same man that told y'all that if you don't vote for him, y'all not black. That's who put all those people in jail. And Trump released
tax cut.
So I think another part of it as well, that I feel didn't sit right with me at least, was that when people were interviewing Kamala or Harris, when they would give her some pushback, The View, CNN, MSNBC, they're like, oh, why are they holding her to this standard? Why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? And it's like, you're running for the president of the United States. This is the most powerful country in the world. If you can't handle some type of criticism and pushback, then you have no reasoning to be in that position. So I don't even think that we're fully ready for that, because the media, they're not even holding her accountable to be running for that role. That doesn't work like that. Doesn't work like that.
What about Trump responses to these presidential debates?
They have
I
been
feel like when you say
Trump.
something, it can relate to Trump too. So I'm waiting for you to say something that don't relate to Trump too.
They have been dragging Trump for the past 10 years. And just let's make this clear. I'm not some Trump fanboy. I just don't like what Biden and Harris has been doing for the past 4 years.
I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm not running for anybody. That's why I'm asking these questions. I'm not ruling. I'm gonna be honest with everybody on this. I didn't vote. This year I didn't vote because I didn't have enough information for me to make a conscious decision.
How did you not have enough information?
When I hear arguments like what you say, Viz, like I hear people say, oh, this about Trump, but then I look at Kamala and I'm like, wait, she doing it too. And then they're like, oh, well, Kamala doing this. And I'm like, I'm looking at Trump. I'm like, he's doing it too. He did all the ignorant stuff that you said she did. He pulled out all the antics. He goes on Twitter. He tweets his ass off. He goes on and I'm not doing the second presidential debate. This some bullshit. Da-da-da-da. Like Trump goes off more than anybody. I feel like he's way more ignorant than Kamala.
Did you watch the first presidential debate?
I seen most of it, and what they shown far as to the Democratic Party, when they was asking him questions, he wasn't answering them directly. He was like going, when they was like, okay, so what are some of the policies he was like, well, I have some written up. Yeah, they're written up, and yeah, they're in place. Okay, well, what does those look like? Well, they're the policies that we went over, and it wasn't clear cut. And then when he talked, and then the way he handled people criticism about him, people criticized his debate, and the way he handled it to me was like a crying baby. Like,
what?
So I don't
well, I would say
y'all know he do it. Y'all act like Trump don't
You
know.
got all this research on Trump, but you had
hold
no
on a second.
research on
No, he's
What do you mean? I already told you what I've seen about her. When I seen her do presidential, well, I didn't tell you this, but when I seen her do interviews, I do agree with that. When people would get on her and ask her hard questions, she'll get flustered. She'll she didn't know how to come back and maintain her composure when they was questioning her. It was things I saw wrong on both sides. So that's why I said when I'm asking Viz this, I'm not asking as a Democrat or somebody that's specifically for Kamala, but what I've seen, a lot of the stuff that he's saying about her, I've seen Trump do. So it's like, if that's her reason, if that's your reasons for not wanting her to be president, why is it different when a man do it?
How can you say that if you literally just said you didn't watch it?
That's the reason why you say you didn't vote, right? You didn't vote because you didn't have the information.
I watched his response to the debates. That's what I watched. Viz.
But
you was talking about Kamala's response to when people criticism about her, and Trump has the same response when people criticize him. So why use that as a reason when Trump do it too?
Let me get do any independent research for yourself at any point?
I'm listening to y'all and I'm asking questions, so your answers can make sense to me. I'm trying to give you a chance to influence me.
I heard you ramble for 10 minutes. I understand that. I'm only simply asking, did you do any independent research?
I thought I answered that. No, I did a little bit, but not enough to vote.
I feel that there was enough out there for you to at least ponder and at least circulate conversations, even amongst close friends, and just get more clarity.
What y'all saying to me?
I don't really feel that that's necessarily true. I think most people on this panel will agree with that. And my second sentiment is this: look, when you're on the world stage, she's not running for the president seat of the U.S. He's sitting for the presidential seat of the world. Y'all do not grasp the gravity. If you cannot get through an interview with CNN and all these other people, what makes you think you can sit in a room with Putin? What makes you think when you go to the EU and you get pushback from other NATO countries who do not align with whatever policy or thing that you're recommending? They're like, wait, hold on, we don't agree with that. Like, we talked about this 4 years ago, and you come in here with this. They're not going to be nice. They're not going to be courteous. They're not going to be fair. They might be rude, belligerent, and downright disrespectful. Can you handle that? Are you prepared for people to give you constructive criticism or pushback on your stance? And can you handle that? There are currently 3 wars. There's proxy wars happening in Russia and Ukraine. There's stuff happening in the Congo. You also have the one in Gaza, in Israel, right? And now we're Iran. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of instability happening in the world right now. This is a very pivotal moment, and we can't play guessing games, because right now it's not really so much about liking or disliking. There's a lot of stuff that we have to enact and play a pivotal role in the world. This is not about, okay, we're going to close our borders and we're just going to be the U.S. and just get our ball and go home. No, we have to really step and play a leadership role, and everything happens. That's import, that's exports, that's tariffs, dealing with China, and then also the instability that might happen in the South China Sea, especially with Taiwan, right? There's a lot of things that are at play, and I don't know if he has the it factor to operate well under pressure. That is all I care about. It's when everybody know, we all know who's who in the moment of truth, and she hasn't been in any situation that has been favorable for us to see in terms of how she handled the border, how she handles press, how she handled interviews, like policies and stuff. And then I'm gonna land by saying this: I feel she lost a lot of Black men because she was never had them. She wasn't even like, that was an afterthought, right? When you look at their website, it says who we serve. Go look at that. Take some time. I encourage even people in the chat who they serve. Who is on there? There's a 24% missing, and that's a lot of men. And a lot of men today don't feel, well, if I'm not going to be considered or even talked to or even brought upon, but yet lectured to, you miss that opportunity to connect with them. And I feel that that was an opportunity missed. I think a lot of men voted out of guilt and not necessarily out of their own personal conscience. So I yield.
All right, we're gonna have to transition, but let me just get Aisha in there, see if she want to add anything, and Ali.
I am not emotional. I don't know why people are so emotionally driven. That's actually not how I operate on a regular day. And I think that the biggest thing to me is that the Democrats failed. Like, they haven't been doing a good job. They didn't do a good job during her campaign. Kamala literally went over to Gaza and had a meeting to ceasefire. The next day they went to war. That's a fact. The next day they went to war. So I'm looking at your ability to lead just like everybody else. I'm looking at that you there. People keep saying, oh, they can't do this and they can't do that, or the Republicans kept them from doing this, the Republicans kept them from doing that. Well, if the Republicans are already in control, then maybe they should be running it, because the country is in shambles. And I just feel like, yay, hey, you know, a lot of Black people like symbolism. It really make y'all feel good to like have all of this hope, but no tangibles. And I think that Generation Z and these younger kids, they're like, we want tangibles. Like, we want to know what y'all really doing. They forgot about a whole class of people. They forgot to a whole class of people that was literally telling them what they wanted. They ignored it and continued to talk about abortions and LGBTQ agenda. And we like, but y'all, that's not what we want. Where are y'all getting that from? So I feel like the Democrats just failed. They failed her. They knew she was going to lose. When Biden knew he was going to lose, they put Kamala in to take the fall. So I look at it two ways. So yeah, they did put a Black woman in there to take the fall, but they knew she wasn't going to win. We knew she wasn't going to win. So it's like the fake outrage and everybody crying and being emotional. That all of that is not real to me. It can't be. Not if we living in the same America. It just can't be this much outrage, because we knew that, and they knew that, and they knew that this was going to turn Black people against each other. But the dominant society always wins. I'll end.
All right, go ahead, Ali.
I think there's a high probability that there's going to be a lot of people on the panel and the target audience on YouTube that have never thought about my perspective, because I'm a minority of a minority. Do I understand that the politics could dive into different arms like everyone has talked about? Absolutely. But for me, Trump already messed up when he made it a very difficult time for me to exist with his rhetoric. A man's job is to protect and provide. Well, he didn't protect me and my community when shit hit the fan through what he was saying with the hate crimes and everything that happened. So he already fucked up, in my opinion, to me. And I can't stand by.
What hate crimes? What hate crimes?
The increase of hate crimes against Asian Americans that happened when he was spewing his rhetoric. So the thing is that I don't.
I believe that all of that's made up, because Black people, we don't have an anti-Black crime hate bill. So I'm trying to figure out, when did crime go up? That was all fabricated by the media.
The 6 Asians were targeted and died.
It was all fabricated by the media. They just hung a Black man by a tree and said he did it himself. That was all fabricated by the media.
Is it okay if I finish?
I know the girl personally. That wasn't fabricated. That was not fabricated. I know her personally. And that's what's crazy.
Let her finish, ladies.
Ladies, I gotta let her finish.
So being that said, I don't want to go through another term of waking up to text messages and phone calls from my loved ones saying, please be careful out there. Be careful, be more aware of your surroundings, due to the fact that I'm going to assume responsibility for what came out of his mouth, even though I am an American citizen. So for me, that I can't let that happen again. That's not okay for me. I'm not saying that the Biden administration did everything that they should. However, typically when I express this, it's very common, just like her reaction, for this to get glossed over. I understand it's not important for you, but it's important for me, which is why I say it's difficult when you're a minority of a minority, because most of the time when I express this, it's fallen on deaf ears and you, oh, that's the Asian community. What? I'm like less than 3%, probably 2%. So it's a slippery slope, and a lot of people aren't going to get it, and I understand that. But unless you were in my shoes, and Trump didn't do anything, he just was like, if you're going to be a leader for all people. Watch what you say. It affects people. Like, I don't want to have to call my mom and be like, please be careful going to the grocery store. You know, people, she's not even Chinese. But look what happened. He didn't control it. He failed in my mind from the beginning. So I mean, like I said, we could go down all the different avenues of policies.
Every day. I have a 19-year-old that lives in Texas. So I understand your plight. I don't want you to feel like that it's falling on deaf ears, but I feel like a lot of
it kind of did, because you didn't let me finish. You kind of just pulled the rug out from underneath of me without letting me finish. Like, this is a real concern for Asian Americans who don't want to have to deal with this with him being in office. But like I said, I'm used to it.
I'm funding a war, slaughtering millions of people overseas.
The priority in my life is my protection, my safety, exactly. So that's why I do feel like my point is completely valid.
But that's just like saying if you listen to rap music, that means you finna go and shoot up everybody. You don't have to do like. People already felt the way they felt.
So you're saying
I already felt the way they felt.
All right, hold on, y'all. One at a time, y'all.
All the studies that proved his rhetoric did increase the hate crime over 400% is an issue for me. And I understand it's not an issue for you, but that's why we vote for what we care about. And I voted for what I care about, which is my personal safety and my family's. So I think that's valid. I think that's okay. I'm not saying that her administration is peachy keen, but it strikes a nerve with me. And if it falls on deaf ears, then so be it. But it's the reality of my existence and the people that look like me in the United States. But last time I checked, we're the United States, all people.
Ellie, I got a quick question.
There is a bill for hate crime. There is a hate crime bill already. So is your issue because of what he said, or is your issue with the bill?
And how he handled it. He just ignored it. He just kept on going with his rhetoric and if he had an opportunity to bring it back, but he chose not to. He chose to ignore it. And that's not okay with me. How could I be okay to let that happen again?
Wait, I got a quick question.
He said that, it made it sound like you had an issue with it's not a bill.
It's his character. He does not stop hate rhetoric. When we had the attack on the Capitol, he wanted to say people have a right to do what they want to do, and that's the issue. Regardless of the policies, regardless of the plans on implementing, I don't trust him as a leader. And I think that's what Ellie is saying. It's just a company.
Like
So quick question. So Ellie, are you speaking about him saying that the virus came from China?
And continually saying China virus, and not him knowing the hate crime is going up and just being like,
So
it came from China anyway.
Right.
Really, we can do better than that. Like, if you know the people in the United States are bucking up because of the way you're sensationalizing it, then do something about it.
That's fair. That's fair.
But that's why I'm saying it's so difficult for me to share this, because a lot of people don't care. And
I get that. I get that. I think, and this is probably just from a detached perspective, right? So when we had the Spanish flu that came from Spain, and we labeled it the Spanish flu. When Ebola came around, that came from Africa. The West Nile, it came from the West Nile. So I think that by default, at least in America, we're conditioned to label it the disease or virus or whatever. We're conditioned to label it from where it came from.
Right.
The other part too, going to Brittany's comment.
And we got to bring this to a close too, Viz, because we got to move on. So nobody else talk out the Viz, so we can move on.
Can I just say real quick, then?
I'm gonna just say this real quick. So, Brittany, we love to bring up January 6th, but we leave out the Black Lives Matters riots. Like, we literally watch half the country burn down, and the Democrats do nothing about it. They literally told people to remain in the streets and continue doing what they're doing. So if is one of those things where I think Guy was mentioning of how one side does one thing and nobody acknowledges the other. So it's.
But when you're the president of the United States, you have a different voice. You have a different level of impact. So I don't want to compare what happened at the Capitol to the Black Lives Matter riots, because the president of the United States had the ability and the authority to do something about that, and he did not. And that, along with so many other things that he's done in the media, further supports why his character is horrible. And he is not the right candidate to lead this country based on his character alone, not looking at the policies and the initiatives that he plans on implementing. I think, like to Ali's point, to my point, and a lot of other people's point, it is about his character and the message that he has spread for years to come.
I just wanted to say the last thing, and it's not really to do with anything with Trump's character or anything like that, but I feel like we are all here to give our opinions. And Ali, being, totally a separate minority and using this as a vulnerable space to tell us how she felt in her perspective, in her community's perspective, we should give everyone the respect that we would want to give when we are sharing things that are personable to us, especially as Black people, because we are the first ones to jump up and say when things don't sit right with us, when we're not happy with things or not happy with certain things that go on with us. So when someone else is speaking that comes from a different culture that we know nothing about, that we actually sat back and watched their people get attacked and have different problems because, or whether you feel like it was indirect or directly from what Trump did, allow her to speak.
Yeah.
I just felt like that was extremely rude and unnecessary to jump in and cut her off multiple times and try to compare your struggle to hers when she's talking about her specific experience. Come on now, we are better. We can do better and we will do better. Thank you. That's all I can say.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say, Ali,
it wasn't the men doing that. It was the other women doing that. So don't put that. Again, we understand hierarchy. We seen who was doing that. It was another woman. Just like Kamala Harris, she was doing us. Fuck her.
Hey,
but Ali,
be quiet.
Sharing that with us,
I mean,
because I do feel like at times we as Black people, when we hear other minorities talk, we like, okay, what about us? What about what we went through too? So I just want to thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and I don't think what a lot of people in the Black community realize is I'm in an interesting position because I'm neither Black nor white. So I can see things that you guys see and hear things said behind your guys' back all the time on both sides. So it's like, I hear you guys and what you guys are saying, but yeah, it is frustrating. Thank you so much, Ty, for mentioning that, because it is true. Sometimes, our opinions are unheard, and that's what this platform is for. So if there's anybody watching that can resonate with what I said.
Guys, y'all know who else had an opinion though? It was JR, and he said nobody was supposed to talk after Viz, and it's obvious y'all don't know how to follow goddamn directions.
You still talking, Hank?
I'm just want to let me know. Good job, big brother. Take over the show.
JR.
Screw these ladies and gentlemen.
All right, Big Ant, $11.10 says J.R. Hink was crying earlier. Were you? My Life, Your Entertainment, 1999. Barbara Heinbeck, who's a Democrat and HU alumni, worked with the Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter administration. She said that Kamala refused to listen to experienced people around her is why she lost, due to her insecurities and ego. Harrison Davis, 499, says, do the women know that men that work the same job don't get the same pay as other men and women?
I mean, I got stories off that. That's not true.
Wait, I didn't understand his statement. What? What is he saying?
I'll bring it back up again.
He's saying men get underpaid than other men too. It's not women that just get underpaid when they're going against other men.
Oh, that's what he was trying to say. He's like other men and women. Like what?
Like, don't you know that's men that's being underpaid more than women too, and they work in the same job as that woman? Like, that's what he's saying.
I get it, and everything is circumstantial. We can't start nitpicking. I mean, at large, historically, men have made more money than women. But I do understand what he's saying. Yes, some women work in the same positions and roles make more money.
All right. Thank you for that, Miss Brittany Gold. But politics always get a little bit heated, don't it? That's why some people just stay away from it. Like, oh, well, no parts of that. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Our next topic that we're going to discuss is... It's not funny, Hank.
I'm mad we didn't even discuss the first topic, low key.
First topic? What? You talking about that?
The show. The little clip that you showed.
Oh, I thought we did.
About women, yeah.
We did.
Yeah, I mean, it was all on the same. As far as women.
That's why you couldn't really participate. He was.
All right, here we go, y'all. You good, Luis? Good, Kelly? Yeah. Aisha, you okay? And let me know if you got a feeling that I need hurt feelings reports, man. I do got something on deck. I will. Yeah.
Y'all know I get sensitive real quick.
Get the tissue, y'all.
I am not an emotional person. I am not emotionally driven.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Dismantle this thought that it's too late.
Yes.
Because I think that I'm a millennial, and like millennial women were really set up for the okie doke because they told us from when we were little, don't depend on anybody. Make sure you get your own. Always be independent. Go to college. Get an education. Don't have a bit. Don't put a man before your. Like, we were hammered. The messaging was go to college, have something that you can stand on, and then think about a man and a baby. And a lot of us did that, and what that did was it made us older, entering motherhood. We started thinking about making a family later, and then I feel like we just got shamed on the back end. And we were like, wait a minute, but I thought this is what we were supposed to do.
That's so true.
We're going to get into it. Focus on your career, be independent, and don't rush. Don't rush. You got time. Let's go ahead and open it up for discussion. Let me get a lady to start off first. One of the ladies want to go first.
I'll go first. I think it's true. Extremely true. That's always what we were taught. Go to college, get your education, focus on your career, make sure you can take care of yourself. You got to be independent. You got to live this life, and then you get older and you realize, like, well, dang, maybe you should have been. Then people tell you why you ain't got a husband. You should have already had a baby by now. You already passed the prime in your life to, find somebody. Or now your value market done went down. Like, it's extremely true what she's saying. For a lot of millennial women, that's how we were raised. You had to take care of yourself. And I think it's because in our society, we were raised by a lot of single mothers who had to learn to take care of themselves. So they wanted to prepare us early for that reality because that was their reality, instead of actually preparing us for what they would have wanted or what would have made our life easier, right? So, I mean, I think it was just more of a defense mechanism to make sure that we were going to survive regardless of what happened to us throughout life. But I think it was true.
All right. Ms. Kelly, you want to say something?
I was definitely raised by strong women. I was definitely told to, be able to provide for myself, take care of myself, don't count on anybody else, yada, yada, yada. A lot of women in my family were married, had businesses, had families too. I personally don't have any children currently. But a lot of the reason why I think I don't is because as I grew up, that's all I heard, in high school. You better not bring no babies home. And so, you know, everything I heard kind of terrified me. So by the time I became an actual adult, my mom would say, well, when are you going to have babies? And I'm like, well, I thought I wasn't supposed to, you know, but it's the truth. I mean, I think some parents raise their daughters like that. And I think some parents raise their daughters different. I think it depends on, you know, your household. Because I do have friends that, you know, graduated high school, got married, and had a family. So I think everything is different. You know, it just depends on your upbringing. So that's a fact. The statement that she made is a fact for some.
All right. I did hear something that was said. You know, if women are being taught that, then why are the men shaming them if they are quote unquote doing it correctly, Jim? Well, not
Maybe
correct.
because they're being taught that by other women, and it's independent women, not
I
women
mean,
from.
it's really more women who are leading that conversation than men are. You know what I'm saying? That like everything that they have talked about and just shared, even the woman in the video, they talked that from the perspective of receiving that message from a woman. It wasn't a man. You know what I'm saying? I even question where is the father even in that equation. But based on that video and, you know, based on a little bit on the share that everybody presented, you could really tell the people who were raised on survival and the people who were raised on love. There's a huge difference between people who were raised on survival and the people who were raised on love. And I say that because I reflect back on my upbringing and I reflect up on a lot of the things that I've heard. And although it is the same, a lot of it's the same, right? Even from, you know, the women in my side of the family, the girls, it was the same, but I think it was less about fear mongering, and I think it was more about like responsibilities. One thing that was always talked about was like responsibilities. It was always talked about, you know, understanding, you know, once you cross that make an adult decision, you are an adult, right? And sort of you need to protect yourself, you need to safeguard yourself, you need to understand these things that happen, you need to talk to us, communicate with us. That was one thing that was very big. It was communication. You know what I'm saying? Being transparent. There wasn't this like, you know, imaginary kind of fictitious kind of story. It was always like the cold hard truth. And sometimes you need to sometimes you need to have the uncomfortable truth. And I think that right there just wakens a lot of people. But unfortunately, to the response to the woman in the video, you know, that's really a sad feat, because I think that the cultural teaching needs to kind of be adjusted, because unfortunately a lot of people outside of our demographic are not taught that or are not told that. They're told protect yourself, a child by anybody, right? Do not prioritize just being a single mother, but focus on yourself, focus on your education, and then find somebody who you align with based on the values that we've instilled in you, you know, family, religion, culture, etc., right? And marry that person. Establish a family with that person, right? It wasn't like separate yourself and then get to a certain point where you think you're great and then find somebody. I think it was more about, you know, ensuring you protect yourself and adhere to certain responsibilities to make sure that you don't ruin your life. Are you?
All right.
I agree. I think that it is cultural, because when I was in college, I had never heard of an MRS degree. They kept saying, she's here to get an MRS degree. And I'm like, what does that mean? And I went to Baylor and Waco, so it's predominantly, you know, white. And they were like, just to find a husband. Like, they literally went to college to find their husband. We are going to college to get a degree. You know, we on scholarships, getting financial aid. You know, we don't. They literally, I know a few girls who like went to college, found their husbands like in college, and that's why they went to college. And I was just there to get my grades. So I just think that I never even thought that in my mind, but their moms sent them to college to get MRS degrees, so to become somebody's wife. And, you know, they get married.
Yeah, it's definitely different with different cultures, I believe. And I think, you know, parents just teach you what they know. You know, they just teach you, they do their best. I think my parents did a fairly good job with me, you know, but every parent is different. And I think the people that pressure some of the women, you know, why aren't you married? Why don't you have kids? Those are just people who grew up in certain type of households. And that's what they saw. They saw, you know, their parents be married and have kids or whatever. So that's the cycle that they know. So they put that on every woman that they know because they don't know anything different.
Go ahead, Allie.
I mean, that's why they say 35 in rural America is not 35 in a city. Those are totally different 35s and lifestyles, right? But no, I do agree with the overall sentiment. I've always firmly believed that it feels like, as a millennial woman, that you have to choose between your career and being a mother. I don't know. I just have always felt that way because anyone who does want to try to like climb the corporate ladder, they're gonna have to take time off and then they're gonna suffer and then they're not gonna get the promotion and da 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 da. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. Just the fact that I do feel like you have to choose which one you want to go with. So, and going back to everybody's, yeah, it depends on what your household was like. If your parents care for you to have kids early, all of that stuff. So,
Ali, I want to add to what you just finished saying, because I think there's something in there that might have went by people's heads. Ladies, I look, I'm gonna be honest, ladies. I feel that you can have it all. You can have it all. You just can't have it all at once.
mm-hmm.
You could have it all in phases. You just can't have it all at once. It's like that bag of candy at Halloween, you know, and your parents take it away. It's because they if they leave it to your own devices, you'll eat it all at once and and suffer. So you can have it all. You just can't have it all at once. And the best way to have it all and have it all in phases, so you get the best success out of it, is you have to have these early conversations from a young child about life and about responsibilities and about the things that you foresee in yourself, you know, about relationships, about communications. Learn these early skills and these like adult-like conversations early so they set you up better. Don't be trying to figure this out on the college campus from some girl that lives, you know, 3 states over who grew up in a foster care home system. No shade to that. But I'm just saying, like, these conversations need to happen at an early age, right?
These conversations will come from the parents.
Exactly.
Right. So that wouldn't really be something that we could control if your parents' focus was on one thing, like Kelly was stating. They're only doing what they know to do. So a lot of parents, for one, are not going to have a lot of those adult conversations with their kids, as far as like, even if you do try to have that conversation of what you want to do when you get older, how you should live your life, things in that nature. Kids change all the time. Your mind is going to change. And you also don't want to control and try to dictate what your child is going to do. So all you do as a parent is try to implement little by little the fundamentals, morals, and ethics and things you think are important to your child, and you hope that they blossom from there. So those conversations are beautiful and all, and that's what you can have with your children. But for the people who are already grown and already done it, those conversations didn't happen like that, and you had to learn along the way as you got older. I was going to say, picking back off of what Allie was stating, I think that goes back to the conversation of why women and men make different incomes and why men can make more, because women do have children. So we have to actually take off of work, right? We tend to want to focus on our kids and raising our families, which puts us
is getting pushed to the person who's going to work on it.
Who's going to work?
Yep, they get the
being honest,
recognition.
men work more than women. Period. They're just going to always work more than us because once you have that child, things change for you. And if you work in corporate America, it's a different hustle. The women that are at the top don't have kids. If they're married, they hardly see their husbands, or they get married later.
Or if they do have kids, they made it to executive leadership before the age of 40. They got the money to help. Yeah.
Have the kids later. Yeah. You know, it's not something that's as attainable. So I totally agree with you, Al. You have to choose as a woman. What do you want to do?
I think that that's true to a certain extent, only because I married my high school sweetheart, y'all. We were together for 17 years, and I had the white picket fence, like everything, right? But when I was married and a wife, I did not work. You know what I mean? It was just me, the kid, Once I got divorced, I'm like, yay, I get to do corporate America. I get to actually use these degrees, you know? And it's fucking hard.
It's extremely hard.
And because you kind of do have to take a step back when you have a child. Like I do remote work. I would make a lot more money if I was working for a company and I actually went in the office, right? Being my title, but because I'm like, oh, I'd rather do this working from home because it's a whole different ball game, especially when you've been working corporate for as long as a lot of us. You know, we've played the game. We've dealt with male chauvinistic men. You know, it's not easy to do both. But I kind of had that's what you were saying is I had it in the beginning, like, oh, so I was a wife and did that, and now it's like corporate America. You know, it's hard. I would not say that it isn't hard. You know, it's great to have family because it takes a village. But I was raised on love, and I'm a Southern girl, so yeah, I did all of that white picket fence the way it's supposed to go. So now being in corporate America is a different ballgame. Like my mom didn't have to work either. But I feel like I would teach my daughter to be independent because you never know what would happen. I feel like I would probably be not even like my mom. You know what I mean? Because it's hard. You can do everything right and it still go wrong. And so for me, it is survival at this point. And so I want my daughter to have the keys she needs to survive. I feel like she's going to naturally know how to be domestic because I'm domestic. But the keys to survival have to be there. And men have to understand that, and they can't be intimidated by the independence.
I also think it's the way that you deliver that information. Because for me and my daughter, I always tell her to make sure she's doing something and she is getting in her career field so she can date people with the same mind frame as hers, the same people with the same interests as her. I know that she don't like a lot of stuff that goes on in the environment I'm currently living in. So I always tell her, you don't like the people here, you feel like they're mean, you feel like they're bullies, you feel like you don't like the music, she feel like it's too vulgar. She notices these things at 11. So I encourage her all the time, okay, you might want to be in more of like a college-like setting. So you have to focus on school. And then another thing down here, a lot of my friends who did get married at like 17, 18, they got married to older men because they were able to take care of them. But a lot of I honestly don't know any of the women who got married to the older men at that young age. I don't know if any of them are still together. And when you're looking at their situation, they kind of struggling because they didn't figure out how to survive for themselves and really make money. They was really just dependent on his income. So yeah, because the world is more modern, my thing would be to just tell her like, yeah, I still want you to be independent, but just make sure you're in environments where you're attracting people who are like you.
I have a question for Lewis. You mentioned, because I missed some of this, I had a bad connection, but you said women can have it all. What do you define as all?
Yeah, just so you know, Luis.
I can't hear you.
I said, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
You mentioned women can have it all. How do you define having it all? What do you consider that being?
I mean, having it all, meaning, you know, going to school, it going to school, still having a private life, you know, dating, going to school, you know, getting that job that you want, or probably building your own business. Because I know that, you know, entrepreneurship and even post, you know, 4-year degree, a lot of people are, you know, really venturing into their own thing, right? A lot of people want to take control of their life and their schedule and where they want to live geographically. They don't want to be held to a specific region. And sort of, I feel that a lot of women are taking the bull by the horns in that respect. With that being said, having it all means, you know, you could be where you want to be and go after what you want, and it could all be sequential. You just have to be strategic about all of it coming together. You got to, you know, people have to plan out their life like very strategic. I find that we don't have a lot of life planning conversations with our young people. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's going to college, not going to college, going to trade school, not going to trade school. You know what I'm saying? You know, setting your kids up for success, whether it's buying real estate or starting a business, whether it's, you know, relocating somewhere else, etc. A lot of life decisions happen, but they happen in conversations and in concert with your parents and also with other mentors or fathers, etc. I don't find that we have enough of those conversations of how to set young people up for success. What are we talking about? People who are already here. I've already got my degree. I already got the job. I already got my side hustle. I'm good. I got a house, etc. I got land. I'm in a good place. I'm talking about the younger people who are coming up and how to set them up for success so they don't trip and fall and make the mistakes of the previous generations. So we know literally to have these conversations about why they're stuck where they are. Right? I care about their future because I want confident, competent, well-to-do, well-educated young Black, brown boys or men in general to be well candidates for women, you know what I'm saying, of their caliber as well. And I feel like there's a huge gap separating the two. And nobody talks about that. We're just so focused on only one that we're forgetting about the other. That's what my sentiment was earlier. I want women to have it all, but they just can't have it all at once. They have to really focus and prioritize certain things at certain times. And you're going to make some tough decisions, whether you really want that family and you want this kind of condition, or do you want to go the corporate route? Maybe you do the corporate route for a few years and then you start your own venture. Maybe you team up with your significant other and tap into access of different grants and programs, etc. But you need to have the conversation with that significant other that you're thinking of building a life with and really map out what that looks like and what the future holds. And I don't think we have enough life planning conversations to get to that point. How you?
So having it all seems like you're referring to education and career. And then
no, it's all tied in together. So it's education, job, career, and, you know, marriage, family. All of that ties in together because the reality of this, we can't, men, unfortunately in 2024, men cannot say that we don't care about your degrees and stuff. That's bullshit. Like, who is raising these young people? You know what I'm saying? If the mother does not have an education, that doesn't have some sort of foundational education to instill into these young people, young boys, young girls, etc., right? They need that education. And I find that us, you know, poo-pooing education has always been like this terrible like idea. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all need to be well educated, we all need to be well rounded, and we all need to be in concert and community with another, you know, teaching each other about certain. Yeah.
Okay, do you feel like you have it all?
I say I'm probably 90% there.
Cool. Do we all feel like we have it all on this panel?
I don't know. I can't speak to your personal endeavors. I would like to think, based on the conversations, that I think a lot of you might have it. might be
I
getting
have
there
what I
closer.
need.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just feel like everybody has a different definition of having it all, because not every woman wants children. Not every woman wants to get married. Not every woman wants a college education. We all want different things. So,
And I
have it
think,
all.
sorry to cut you off. I think to support your statement, I read a study recently, and I wish I could find it, that says this newer generation, because I know, Luis, you were talking about the gaps and everything like that. These younger generations are actually redefining what it means to have it all. And even when it comes to the workforce and your education, for example, it highlighted how the younger generations are less focused on a corporate job and more focused on a lifestyle job that's fitting to them to make them happy. So I think that's why that there's a gap happening right here, because the millennials were, get an education, get a job, and have a family. The younger generation is, well, I don't know if I need an education. I just want to be happy. And I'm not so focused on having kids because the pressure is no longer there. So having it all really has shifted entirely. I see it in the junior level roles in my corporate position, that they just move different entirely. And that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I think that there needs to be a little bit of a release from us older ones on having it all to the younger ones and the younger women. We're leading it with declining birth rates. So we've already shifted it from our parents' generation. So I think just accepting the fact that this have it all is going to be different in the future. It's already happening. So
going off of Allie's point, it's just like with our parents, a lot of them would get one job and stay at that job for 20, 30 years. And then but they would always be unhappy. They can get laid off at any time. So when we start coming up, we're like, forget this job. If I don't like it, I'll go to another job, and they would complain like, you jump from job to job. I feel like it just gets closer and closer to the generation figuring out what is happiness and what's going to make me feel content in life. I'm not going to work until I die like my parents did. And they don't want, like us, to still just be unhappy. They want to do something that's going to make them happy. So I agree with you, Allie. The idea of what is everything is changing constantly. Even the thought of going to college is now just for the experience. The education, if we're being honest, if you really wanted to, you could educate yourself without going to college. You don't have to pay $80,000, $100,000 to a school to get an education. We can get real life skills, off of Google, off of YouTube. TikTok is going crazy. So these children are not going to go the same route that we went. So what we feel like is a priority and like the best thing, or what's going to set them up for the best success, they're fighting it in different ways. It's kids right now that are millionaires.
I'm kind of proud of them. When I see a new idea from you, I'm like, oh, okay. Like I respect it. I like it. It's innovative.
Just find someone to help you manage your money.
Hey, I miss some of it, but I got a quick question.
Hold on, let all the ladies talk. Let them get this shit up off their chest. They got some shit to get up off their goddamn chest. Let them go. Brittany or Di, one of y'all want to speak next?
I mean, the only thing I'll add, going back to the video we watched, I think that the message depends on your household, because for me personally, I came from a household where the woman did have it all. She was a business owner. She grew the corporate rank. She had me in the office with her at a young age, so I could see her in that capacity, as well as at home cleaning up, cooking. So I think it really, just going back to the video, I think it does depend on your household. And I think moving forward, I agree with what Ali said 100%, that we don't necessarily want to push our normal on this next generation, but we want to, I think it's important for people to do whatever they need to do to become whole in general. Like, I'm an advocate of become whole, whatever that is. Don't focus on just being a mom. Don't focus on just being a career woman. Do whatever you need to do to be whole so you can show up to whatever it is that you're showing up to 100%. I'm a mom of 3. I hold a very demanding position. I'm a business owner as well. And I feel like, I'm happy. I'm content with that. I don't wish I didn't have children and I was just climbing the corporate ladder. And I don't wish, anything else. It's very challenging doing it all, but that makes me happy. Being a mom, having a successful career, and being a business owner makes me happy. So that's the only thing.
All right, the ladies go.
You ain't got nothing to say, Di? You usually long-winded. I'm glad you went last.
I just feel I agree with what they said. I just think that back in the day, a lot of women, when it was delivered to me from my mom and from my grandmother, and my grandmother was married, and he took care of the house. She was able to have her career. So just going back to that, when they was telling it to me, it was more so in a sense like, so your opinion can matter. So you're not being controlled. So you can have some form of independence. So you can know how to take care of yourself. So you don't feel like once you're in a situation, if you do pick the wrong guy to lead you, you're not stuck in that situation because you can't take care of yourself. So I think it was more coming from a fearful mindset. And that's why I make the statement when I deliver it to my daughter, it's not gonna be do this so you can be independent, but do this so you can know who you are and you can surround yourself with people who think like you and who has the same mindset as you. Because as long as you're doing that, you're bound to find somebody to fall in love with. If you're in the career field and you're set and you're hanging with people and you're surrounded, like I said. So that's just my opinion and take on it.
Can I ask the ladies a question? What is happiness to you?
Accomplishing things. So sorry.
Who's going first?
Yeah. Hey, Jay, I think it depends on the day of the week for most of them. It depends on the day of the week.
I'll go first.
Personally, I feel like being healthy is happiness for me. Being stable and just being fulfilled in my career. Having good friends and a good support system. That makes me happy.
I agree with Kelly. Health is wealth, 100% for me. So I feel like as long as I'm constantly working on me, my growth, spending time with my child, I'm able to laugh, I'm happy, to be honest. I choose happiness every day. Like King said, it depends on the day, but for me, I choose it because happiness is a choice every day.
Yeah. Just being able to have that freedom and independence to be who you are without somebody controlling the run of your day. That makes me happy.
Peace of mind, exactly. Peace of mind is my happiness. And that comes from me not being emotionally dependent on anyone or anything else.
Mm-hmm. Mental stability.
Aisha, Ali, Da?
Oh, for me, happiness is having my personal and professional relationships at the trajectory that I want them to be. As long as they're at where I want them to be, I'm happy. So.
I mean, happiness to me is love. Like, I'm a lover of love. And so I feel the most happiest when I'm like loving on people. So to me, my daughter makes me happy. Son makes me happy. My mom makes me happy. I don't really thrive off of physical things, jobs, things that, because I always think about how I want to be remembered when I leave here and the things that aren't going to go. So my happiness, it does depend on my feelings and my mood, and my happiness depends on love. So that's what makes me happy. It makes me happy to do things for my friends, my family. It makes me happy to show up. And like Kelly, to be your authentic self, to be able to be you all the time, that makes me happy. So
I'm happy that somebody said they love. I rarely hear that nowadays. It's such a fleeting, missing component, and you need it. Everybody needs it.
Go ahead, Dan.
It sounds like everybody has it.
I feel like happiness to me, I'm still kind of figuring it out at 33. But I agree with Ali and Ty. I feel like what really makes me happy is my relationships with the people in my life, professional and personal. When those are off, I'm off. I was just crying with one of my coworkers while we was handling a dispute. I'm very emotional. But that makes me happy and accomplishing things. So I read this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it was really a good book, and it brought perspective that a lot of people solving problems make people happy. And I am a problem solver. I love helping people, whether it's with their emotions, with their business, with just helping. I'm a helper. Like, I help people more than I help myself. And love makes me happy 100%. I think that's why my community and working on my community is very important to me, because I want to bring love back. I tend to see people dealing with each other without love nowadays, and I feel like that's why things are the way it is. It's like a lot of the older generation, they really big on discipline, because I have to work with a lot of older people, and it's like they just big on discipline, not realizing that a lot of kids, and I'm not just saying kids, but younger people, even dealing with the kids in grade school, hearing these kids talk, they don't feel loved, and then hearing my generation talk, we don't feel loved. We got older black women trying to lead us, and then it's like we don't feel loved by them. Sometimes we feel judged, so those are the things that make me happy. And I noticed that men know this stuff that make me happy too. Like, I didn't think like material things mattered to me that much, but then like when I used to be in an argument with my ex-boyfriend, like one time he bought me a PlayStation 5, and I'm like, oh, I like this. But I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like it more than his changed behavior. I ended up like trying to break it, because I'm like, nah, I'd rather have changed behavior. But sometimes like buying me things make me feel good too. That make me happy. And looking pretty makes me real happy. Like, when I look good, I feel like I could deal with anything. Like, I got some, like, you could come in my face with bullshit, and I'm like, I don't got time for that. Like, I look too good right now. You know what I'm
You
saying?
seen that video on IG that said you weren't sad, sis, you just needed your hair done.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
When I
me
tell
happy.
you it'll change your mood, baby, you get your
like,
Hey,
and
Doc.
it's like
Nothing wrong with it.
I didn't realize it though until I actually did it. And I'm like, damn, we as women really care about it. I did it with my
We
daughter
care
too.
about it. It's
My daughter
important.
care about it, even at that age. It's like, it's just something instilled in us to care about our appearance.
Doc, are you aware of the love languages?
Yes.
Okay.
My love language is being understood. Let me be emotional. I'm not gonna be disrespectful. I just want to be understood.
It sounds like from what you just said that is receiving gifts, though.
No, I didn't say that. I said because I told you, once he didn't give me the change behavior that came with the gift, I'm like, F this gift. I would rather change behavior. I want to help you become better. But no, it just things that make you happy. I got a necklace, like, this cute. I like this. This adds to the look. You know what I'm saying? Like, being pretty makes me happy.
That could still be one of them, though.
Yeah.
It's a hierarchy of your love languages. So,
all right. So
and most of the things I
have
named didn't
one.
have nothing to do with.
All right, I got a quick question to Ty. I'm gonna bring it back.
She said, "Let me be emotional." Shout out to Carl Thomas. God damn, that's a love language.
Being understood, yes, because I'm different, and I've accepted that. I'm not trying to be anybody version of right. I'm trying to be myself, and then allow that man to say, "Okay, I love that about you." So that's what it is.
All right, so Ty, I got a quick question. There was something, and I'm gonna ask something that you had mentioned earlier. So you said that young people should jump from job to job to find happiness.
Not what I said. I said that the difference, when I was going off of piggybacking off of what Allie was stating, I said our parents would stick with one job for 20, 30, 40 years. And we learned from them, and they would most likely be miserable, that we would never do that. So we, as millennials, tend to jump around until we find something that we feel fulfills us, instead of just sticking with one job. I never said that you should jump around from job to job to find your happiness, but that's what we as millennials do, because as generations continue, we continuously change based off of the perception that we receive from the generation before us and where we feel that they messed up. So you worked yourself to death. I'm not going to do that with a company that doesn't appreciate me. So I will leave.
I think that promotes instability though.
It doesn't. I think it promotes mental health awareness, clarity, and understanding your value as a person. Because let's be honest, just like that lady at that bank, I can't remember where she worked, who died at her desk and nobody knew that she was dead for, I think, a few hours or a few days or something. Like she was there for a minute.
Like 5 days.
Yeah, like 5 days. Nobody knew that she was dead.
4 days.
4 days. Nobody knew she was dead. In that building, sitting at her desk, you hold no real value to a company other than what you can bring them. So if that company is not able to give you back something, whether it's, time off, great benefits, great pay, fulfilling work, whatever that is for you, then you have every right to move around. And I'm not saying just continuously jump from here to there and don't have a plan. No, stay at that job. Apply for other jobs on Indeed. Go ahead and interview, get the job, and quit and move on.
I think that really promotes instability. That promotes.
No, I disagree.
How?
Depending on the age you're doing it at, I think so.
No. When you're young, why? How does that
I think when you're young, you want that experience.
Especially when you're young.
I disagree because I agree with Ty. I've been in HR for 13 years, right? I'm in leadership.
Hey, right? Ladies, can we get and my man get a full thought out though, ladies, can we get a full thought out?
Somebody on Christmas, somebody died. I posted their job.
Asia, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, man? Can you hear me? Can he finish getting a full thought? Now we try to be respectful to you ladies and allow you ladies to get your full thought outs. Can he get his full thought out? Can you do that, man? Thank you, man. I appreciate that. That's awfully nice.
Thank you, brother Hank. You're a solid man for that.
Right on.
All right, but yeah.
Shout out to the Short Kings.
He was for you and was shady, all in the same sentence. That's wild.
Hey, but yeah, no, I definitely understand what you guys are saying, but I feel like with this generation and what it is that we're seeing that they're doing, especially with the generation to come, the Gen Z or whatever, I think that that's a terrible message to be giving them, because nobody is going to be consistent and stick with one thing. It's constantly jumping to one thing to another. I'm pretty sure that if they do that with their jobs, they're probably going to do that in relationships. So I think that that's a very poor message to tell the next generation to do. The other part of it as well, most people, all they are workers. I feel like we've convinced people that everyone should be entrepreneurs, but everyone is not an entrepreneur. That's not built for everyone. Everyone is not a servant. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to be a servant. And a lot of people are jumping into that because they hear people say, "Oh, be your own boss" and all this other shit, and they go and fuck up, you know what I'm saying, the whatever industry that it is that they're in. So I think that that's kind of a dangerous message to be giving people in a general sense.
I think if you're in the same career field and you're bouncing around, I think it's okay. But I think if you're bouncing around in different career paths or trying different careers, that can be a little unstable. But I think if you don't move around, you're limiting yourself too. Mm-hmm. So in this day and age, maybe 20 years ago, staying at the same job was cool, right, but it's a different day now. So
why not just grow in that company?
Because that's
not what's working for that person. So people have to do what works for them.
Well, I'm saying,
I think that's where the discrepancy is.
Why work a job that you don't like? That doesn't make sense.
People do it every single day, though. People do it every single day. because
if
they're
you don't know
trying
you
to
like it? You don't
survive.
like it until you work.
Right. You have to start it first, and then you may
So
realize that it doesn't work for you. So then you quit or decide to get a different job and you try something else out. I feel like it's better for you to do that when you are younger rather than doing that when you're older, because then you'll get to a place and you'll understand what your actual skills are, what you're good at, what's actually your passion. Everybody doesn't automatically know that. And like you stated, everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. And that's not even what I was saying or going with it. I'm talking about just in regular jobs in corporate America, blue collar positions. You have to figure out what's going to work for you and what's going to fulfill you the most in order to even stay at a job for years and years and years. If not, it'll be draining you of your life and you will die way before your time.
So I don't necessarily disagree with the sentiment that you're sharing, because I reflect on my own. I started in architecture, then I went to mill shop, and then I went to a roofing company, and then I got my way back into architecture and I started back to design. But everything was in the parallel of the same industry, so I learned things that pulled in different directions that aid me in my growth in my particular industry, right? And I think if people are doing that, then that is okay. I think expanding and being in cross-pollinating in terms of different sectors, right? That is very helpful to make you grow, because employers will see that. They're like, oh, wow, like, he brought these skills and these, abilities and these trainings from over here that also aid him in this career in our business. So they see that, and I'm not against that. The thing that I wonder, and the thing that I wonder and I want to ask is, do you care more about the work that you do, or do you care more about the environment? Because I tend to hear more often than not that people care more about the company and all these other things, and there's people who care about the work. I love the work that I do because I know I am serving young kids. I am serving a community, right? I am problem solving, and I'm bringing tangible solutions. And I'm not going to lie to you, ladies, sometimes it's fucking stressful. But at the end of the day, when you see those young kids go through that school for the first time, that is freaking priceless. You have no clue until you're in that situation. So you're going to work is work, life is life. You're gonna have highs and lows, and you're not gonna agree like working with certain people. I certainly don't at times. We're messy individuals who are sometimes very difficult to work with or get along. But you gotta work through that and find a niche that works best for you, that you actually love the work. You know what I'm saying? The stuff that you produce. Are you?
I have a question for the men.
So
I see a lot of guys that's like 26, 27, 28 going through what Viz was just talking about, because I could see why it would be bad. I feel like when you're young, yes, get that experience. But when you get older, right? Say like now you're 28, 29, 30, you still ain't figured out what you like. You know what I'm saying? You still ain't figured out what you want to do. You're going from job to job. For the men, do you think it's important if a man says, okay, I want to take care of this woman, I want to settle down, I'm ready for a family, if he don't necessarily know what he want to do, should he just do whatever comes until he's like, how would they go about that?
What age are we talking about?
Like
What?
like 30s, like after that young age, like once you pass 20s and you didn't work, and you work but you still ain't
So
found nothing.
we're talking about a man who's 30 years old or older.
Like in their 30s, mid 30s, probably.
Mid 30. Okay. If
Mm-hmm.
you're a man,
a lot of men in my generation dealing with this. That's why I'm asking.
yeah, I know, man, and it freaking pains me to hear that sometimes, because unfortunately those are the stragglers that we sometimes talk about that I've forgotten. But like, if you're a man who's 30 and plus, understanding the market in the landscape of today's economy, you need to really, really focus. Like, You wasted your youth, right? Partying, chilling, whatever the case may be, right? And unfortunately, a lot of us do that. A lot of people, a lot of men have done that. They wasted years, as opposed to lock in, focus, do what you got to do, and you'll get those years back. I promise you. And unfortunately, they're playing a bit of catch up. You know, their credit might not be where it needs to be. They're
So they
probably
can't
not.
focus on happy right now.
They can't focus on happy. You can't focus on happy.
That makes sense,
You,
though. It makes sense if you want to
you can't.
provide.
Yeah, if you want to provide, you can't focus on happy, because that's a level of responsibility that you have to take on your shoulder that you haven't even prepared yourself, because unfortunately you don't have a consistent track record of winning. You know what I'm saying? And I would hope that a woman in that position who is dating that man is asking him, what have you been doing? You know what I'm saying? Since you've gotten out of high school, where have you been focused? Were you in the service? Did you start a business? Did you go to college? What are the things that you're passionate about? What do you focus on? What's the aim? What's the direction of your life? People talk about program, but they don't even have the basic fundamentals to even start, you know, and starting the family, even taking care of a family. I wouldn't even go that far. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're in that situation. I think find someone who you're well aligned with values, and then also have similar lifestyles, but fully taking care of a woman in that position where you haven't figured out yourself yet, it's a no-go. There's a reason why when you're on the airplane, they tell you to put on your mask first before you help somebody else. You need to help yourself first before you ever take somebody off the market in that capacity.
So let me say this. I've been hearing a lot of what y'all saying, and it sounds crazy. So y'all ladies talking about y'all want equality. Y'all don't want that equality. Because all this shit y'all was just talking about and preaching, as a man, you couldn't do that bullshit. Y'all couldn't be focused on your word and independence and don't rush. Nah, wouldn't that be happening as a man? See, y'all can get away with that because y'all are ladies. Y'all are women. Y'all can get away with that. Worry about focus on your career and all that, and do all that. Go from one job to the next, because I'm not having fun. I'm not feeling fulfilled. I don't like it. Today's a bad day. So it's job. As a woman, y'all can do that. But if you was a hard ankle, that shit wouldn't fly. So the men you talk about dying, those are loser dudes. Those are the type of dudes that Ty's talking about. Allow them to do what they want to do, make decisions. No, Ty, you should push your children in the direction that you need them to go. They should. That's the problem with our youth now. They have too many options. And when you get all these options, they can't make a decision. They can't stand on shit. So now they got the option over here, option over there, option over there, option over. They had job here, job here. There's no stability. Just like Viz says, they don't know what stability is anymore. And look, shout out to Harrison Buckler. If y'all don't know who Harrison Buckler is, this man talked about his wife at a graduation, and they gave him hell about that shit. He said the greatest thing is being a mother, being a homemaker. It's the greatest job ever. Not a woman out here trying to be a CEO. Not a woman out here trying to be a boss bitch, but a mother, a wife, a caretaker. The greatest job any woman could ever do. But a lot of ladies, they not looking past that. Why? Because y'all so independent to the point y'all don't even want a man. Y'all don't even need a man. What's a man? What we need him for? We got AI, we got robots, and we got roses. We don't need y'all. We get what we need from that. Bullshit. As soon as y'all out here trying to job hop, y'all need somebody to take care of your ass while y'all between jobs. Y'all need somebody to help you out when y'all trying to practice interview, because it sounds like y'all don't ask questions during the interview. Sound like y'all don't do no type of investigation. Why are you going in a job and all of a sudden you got to go there just to find out what your benefits are? No, that should have been during the interview process. Say, what's the benefits? What's the benefits package? What's the pay package? You know, what's all of these things? Are y'all finding out before you go on a job? You can also find out what type of job is it. Do you have any friends that work at this job? That's how you get referred to the job. I mean, what are we doing here? Y'all just going there blind? No, but as women, y'all could do that. I'm on Brittany. I know you want to speak on when I speak. Can I please get the same courtesy as I gave you, ladies?
There, I don't understand how we got there. I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Just sit back and listen. You'll learn. Brittany, sit back and listen, and you will learn. Sit back and listen, and you will learn.
Let's bring it back.
One of
please,
ma'am, the main topic is about equality. Y'all was talking about equality, right? But y'all don't. That's not what y'all really want. Y'all want to be paid as much as us, make as much as us, treated as much as, seen as much as. But then you got to get them expectations, and that you don't want. Like it says, you want the benefits, but you don't want the heartaches and the issues you have to deal with in order to get that same benefit. No, you don't want them. You don't want that smoke. So stay in an easy lane where it's soft and supple, you're well taken care of just because you're a female. So when you go on maternity leave, you get them benefits. See, as men, we don't get them. Not every career or every job has paternal leave for the men. It's not federal mandated for us, but it is for you guys. We don't get off. We got to keep on clocking in for Mr. Charlie. And guess what? Mr. Charlie gonna make sure we at work. I might give you a couple of days off to go be with your wife, but you better bring your black ass back here and work and get on this assembly line or get in that office or get to doing whatever you got to do. You don't want them issues, man. You don't want them. You like the cush life.
I don't.
Enjoy the
So you
cush
would
life.
rather have the baby? You would
Go ahead, Brittany. I see y'all want to talk. Go ahead. Y'all ain't gonna let me land. That's cool. Go ahead.
Are you done, Hank?
No, I ain't got no choice but to be done with y'all. Go ahead, ladies.
Let him finish.
Please let him finish.
They don't want me to finish. But that's cool. I understand. It's what we call double standards. I accept double standards. Now, y'all ladies can't accept the double standards. I can accept that. Go ahead, ladies.
In that particular scenario that you just presented about paternity leave, you as a woman, you just gave birth to another human being. So you can't expect to have the same rights that a woman would have. Although a lot of corporations have moved to extending that to men as well, you can't, it's like comparing apples to oranges. You know what I mean? Women still have to damn near wear diapers after they give birth to a child. Like, we're bleeding. All sorts of things are happening with our body. Our body needs time to recover. I'm sorry, with all due respect, what are you recovering from when a woman gives birth?
I mean, but Brittany, that's the point with the equality part. That's the whole point of it.
I just want to point out that I said that.
Let them talk. They'll talk themselves into a goddamn phone. Go ahead. At the same time, even after you give birth and care for a whole human being that you just brought into this world, you still have bills to pay too, and you still have to get back to it as well. So, like, what are you saying? Like, I don't understand what the point is. That's what I'm saying. You got a whole husband that's right there to offset while you taking time. Or you just talking about being a baby mama? Okay, well, I ain't with that shit. Go ahead. I ain't talking about being a baby mama. I'm talking about being a wife.
Reel it back on in. I was married for 12 years, in a relationship for 14 years, and I made the choice to exit that situation. I was never made a...
Ma'am, I'm talking about the example. Go ahead.
And I have great partnership and support by my ex-husband. So I am not a statistic, and that is very condescending. And that goes back to the rhetoric that we talked about earlier about how men feel about Black women. But I'm going to leave that right there because this is not what the topic is right now. But we're going to leave that right there. You just proved my point that I was trying to make earlier.
Well, no, Brittany, he was going off of the example that you brought up. So you said that you have to get back to paying, well, you have to still pay the bills. So all he said was acknowledge, well, that's what you have a husband for. So in that scenario that you mentioned, we're assuming that we're talking about that you're in a committed relationship with a man that's there to help aid and assist in paying those bills.
But hopefully when you just had a child, yes, hopefully. I mean, I'm not glorifying getting out there having children without a partner in the home, because yes, you're going to need that support. Right. But I get that part.
Well, yeah, we're just going off that example.
And the quality rabbit hole that we were going down.
Well, let's talk about
if you understood it, you wouldn't have took it left the way you did. Talking about I'm not a statistics. Nobody's saying you was, man. I'm just using that as an example.
You took it there talking about baby.
To play devil's advocate in today's society, you need two people working in the household to actually be able to maintain all of the bills and to live a comfortable life. So even with that argument, yes, you may have that husband, but maybe your husband's job and his income cannot sustain your household. Maybe you are the breadwinner. Maybe you make more than your husband makes. That doesn't make him less of a man or less of a hard worker, but we cannot live just off of your income. So even though you have a husband in the household, the woman still has to get back to it. I also want to point out, Hank, that I specifically said that when it comes to the conversation about equality in pay, the reason why men get paid more is because they work more. We have way more time where we're actually off because we have children, because we decide to step away for families. I literally stated that. I never said that I feel that we should be equal across the board. It's impossible to do so because we are the ones that give birth to children. And when we do that, we usually want to spend our time with our kids. We usually have to pick between giving our energy to our career or giving our energy to our children. I just wanted to throw that out there because you came with the hostility on the equality thing, and all the women did not have that sentiment.
Yeah, I said you got to choose.
So I wanna add a different perspective, or maybe perhaps I want to interject a cultural perspective. You know, I understand that, you know, when a couple gets together or a couple gets married and they're embarking on a new journey of having a newborn, bringing a child into this world. Obviously, there's, you know, a lot of family planning, time off requested right there. All these conversations about how much time you're gonna take off and just saving it all. I think sometimes what we tend to kind of not highlight is, you know, where does your parents come into the picture, right? Your parents helping you out during that transition time when you've already given birth. Excuse me, when you've already given birth to your first child, right? You having that extra set of hands around to help and aid you, right? That sense of community of people, you know, while you're at home, because I understand it's not a perfect situation. I don't think that even if he does get time off, he'll probably get 3 weeks off, sometimes 4. Like this is not like Europe, unfortunately. Like we don't get a whole lot of time off. And the way that the United States of America Corporation views family overall is not the most beneficial lens that most people share. You know, I think that women need a whole year off. You know what I'm saying? Not like 4 weeks and then you're back in the office. I think that's just terrible. But unfortunately, there's a lot of things that you have to do behind the scenes to kind of plan and kind of overlap and build in time and equity in certain vehicles to kind of pick up from where you have time off. But I also want to bring back the family component about, you know, where's the auntie or the grandma or the mother who's much more senior, but she's around, right, to be there to help and aid you. You know, having the extra hand of another woman who also is in your loving community or extension. I think that's just as important. I think what happens is that people have their family, you know, that's fine, and then they're just isolated. It's just you and the husband, and that can grow a lot of tension, especially with women who are suffering from
Pardon.
Thank you. I'm a little bit agitated, had a little bit too much. Postpartum, and you know that's something that is missed at times too. And I think that family planning component to kind of ensure that the relationship doesn't hit those very, you know, rough, very tumultuous moments, that needs to also come into play. And I think that people need to bring that up more and have these kind of conversations with loved ones to ensure that they have the kind of support that they need while they're going through that time period. How you?
Well, unfortunately,
so one of the issues is that we have in our Black community is that we don't plan properly. That's one of our issues. So you now, Ty, you sit there and say, well, what if she's the breadwinner? okay, we need to plan properly. If she's the breadwinner, then maybe it's not our time to have a kid right now. Maybe I need to get some more training, more certification, so I can either get a better job, or maybe I need to go out there and get a part-time job to offset any monies that's going to be short because the wife, who is the breadwinner, is working. Maybe we need to do that. Unfortunately, our community, we don't plan for the kids. We just have them oops babies. That's how we like to roll. Oh, we're having a baby. Oops. It wasn't planned. It wasn't budget. We understand. I don't know how long it's going to take. How many more mistakes, bumps on here we got to take. Kids are expensive. It's not cheap to have kids. It's a very expensive investment that you're making when you have kids. Yet we still go out here and have all these goddamn babies and don't plan for none of them. We just work on the fly. Is that what we're pushing? Is that what we promote now? That's exactly what y'all doing when y'all saying what they're saying. Well, she's the breadwinner, so she can't afford to get bullshit. Make arrangements, make adjustments, do what you have to do.
Well, I wanted to address what Lewis just said about having those conversations. Where's the grandmother, the mother, etc. I mean, that's not everybody's reality. Everybody doesn't have a mother or a grandmother or auntie to support them. So when you decide to have that child is yours to raise. So that's just, I mean, we can't give everybody the same formula.
I understand that, and unfortunately, I can't cover everybody in every different socioeconomic or life situation. But one thing that I always kind of lean on and talk about is family, community, and building a tribe of people. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't have a grandmother or your mother, God forbid that they might have passed or they just was never there in your life, you garnered the ability to build the tribe of women, to be in concert with women, you know what I'm saying? And in community with women where you can have that. You might have that midwife that can help you in that time. Like, I'm trying to come up with a bunch of different solutions and different avenues and different vehicles without coming up with excuses. Because one thing about me, I hate fucking excuses. I come up with solutions every single day. And I find that at times we are culturally bounded by some imaginary anvil that keeps sinking us to the bottom of the abyss. And I hate that. And I'm trying for us to think outside our norm and break the cultural mindset that
you can freeze them, please.
Well, to bounce off that, I think the core of what you're frustrated at is the death of multi-generational homes in America. And that has leached off of the majority in this country. Me personally, like, I'm not going to send my mom to a nursing home. Well, hell no. No, there's nothing wrong with having multi-generational households for the exact purpose that you've just said. So I think that's where the bigger frustration comes into, is it's okay to have it happen. I don't know why we've gotten to this point where it's got to be like that, because then it would solve the issues if someone's income is worse than the other. Like, yeah.
I agree. I feel like it should be like that. I think the frustration comes from, I think Black families know that we need to be like that. They talk about that. Why do you kick your kids out instantly at 18? And some people do it at 16. You know what I'm saying? It happened to my brother at 14. You know what I'm saying? So imagine when you older and you're having a kid, they already, most of them is expecting you to take care of yourself at 14 to 18 already. So, and what's crazy is it did used to be a community thing. When you go back in the day, it used to be community. You could be, I know as far as me and at my age on my block, they could whoop me. The next door neighbor could whoop me. If my mama and them had to work, or if my dad had to work, it was a community thing. And I do feel like that's the reason why we don't have a lot of marriages and love and empathy in our community anymore. Because it got to the point where you better not say nothing to my kid. You better not, you better not look at her. I'll be darned if you tell her what to do what's right. She only gonna listen to me. Yeah, she only gonna listen to me. So it does get frustrating, because it's like you want to make that a solution, but you can't make other people help you. You can't make other people help you. You can't make them love you. You can go out and look for the support, like you said, but then again, you taking away time from making money and doing what you have to do for the kids, and it's just it's a frustrating topic.
That goes back to what y'all was talking about earlier, though. When
I see it both ways, because when I got pregnant, my mom like moved in with me, like when my babies were born. So like down south, it's to me, it's a little bit different. Like I still own my home in Texas. My mom lives in my home. You know, I wasn't gonna like sell it or whatever. Like it's in the family. My mom has a home. It's the homestead. My son is 19 and he literally told my mama, like, I don't have to go anywhere. This is my mom's house. He's like kicking his feet up. But I always feel like as long as I have a house, my kids do too, and my family do too. And it does take a village. And I think that we have gotten away from that as a community. I've heard someone say, well, I had a friend that was like, well, he's taking care of his dad. His dad lived with him. I can't talk to him. Why not? This is a free babysitter. Like, what are we doing? You know, so I think that people look down on it for some reason, like when you're sharing your spaces or when your family's here. But I think that just me traveling and being in the military, like being overseas, they don't leave the house until they're married and have kids. Like they're not pushing their kids out the house at 18. Like they're not ready and prepared. You're setting your kids up for failure. You know, you can keep all that money in the house. All that money can stay in the family. And then you get to help each other. And it just creates, you know, a better community. We grew up where everybody went to grandma's house. Like we were all with all of our cousins. And I look at that now and I'm like, my daughter knows all her cousins. Like seriously, she got home a lot. But it gets to a point where people don't even know their cousins. No, it's no more grandma's house. And that takes away from the community of our environments. And I think that that's very, 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 very important.
I agree, because I don't even want to leave the crib until I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to leave. I don't want to be out there alone feeling unsafe. And my family, we're actually looking for a big house in Atlanta until we can, you know, branch off comfortably, but it's not a lot of people doing it, and it's kind of sad.
But that goes back to what y'all was saying earlier about judgment. You know, is don't worry about what other people think of you and their opinion and all this other shit. When that was the actual thing. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of stuff that I could have done when I was younger, but I didn't do because I didn't want to embarrass my mama. I didn't want my uncle to put hands on me. You know what I'm saying? So, but now nobody gives a fuck. You just do whatever the fuck you want to. Your mama ain't gonna say nothing. Your uncle can't say nothing because your mama gonna snap on him. Miss Gentry down the street, she can't say nothing because the mama gonna cuss her out. You know what I'm saying? So
or these boys might spaz and smack her.
You know what I'm saying? There's no values and there's no respect. So y'all just talked about not caring what people say, and then we get to this. So we can't have both. We have to pick one and stick with it, because both of them come at a cost. So if we're telling people that you shouldn't care about other people's opinions and it doesn't matter what they feel or say and all this other shit, then that is going to be a problem, because the more generations that come after that, they're going to continue to stretch it further and further. And now we're seeing exactly what we're seeing now.
Yeah, I think it's be careful where you apply it to. Don't be careful what people, you know, think. You always want to teach your kids to build your brand.
You have to be careful of what people think always.
That's why I was gonna say you want to tell. Yeah, that's why I say it's where you place it. You always want to build your brand. You want to make sure okay, what do you want to be? What's your brand? Okay, go to build your brand. If you want to be a stripper, don't care about what these niggas gonna say, because that's your brand. You want to be a doctor.
The best stripper you
want to be a doctor. You don't want to worry about what the gangbangers say when you come home and it's time for you to, you know, do your duty, and they talking about you in your scrubs because they think you look like a nurse. So that, I think when they was talking about don't care what people think, they was talking about like in finding a career. If I don't like this, then okay, yeah, go to this. But that can be applied to different areas of life. Like you don't want to just say this or that. No, it can be applied to different areas of life. You just want to be careful how you say it, and you want to make sure you give context when you say it.
That again goes back to what Hink said. Y'all have the luxury of doing that. That's not something that you teach young men. You know what I'm saying? Because that now is going to bite you in the ass. That's literally women now creating the very men that they complain about. So that's counterintuitive. It's counterproductive.
I have to agree with Viz because, like I said, I have a 19-year-old son, and yeah, they feel like he tells me that he's like,
when it comes to men,
he was like, I can do AI and pass college. He's like, I don't have to do that, right? But I'm in the mindset, you got to go to college, you got to graduate, you need to have a plan, you need to have, and he's just like, I don't know what your generation did, but we don't have to do any of that, you know? And it's like, so I already know he's going to get on a job, not like it, next job, not like it. I didn't do that, you know what I'm saying? But I just feel like this generation is thinking something different because of the things that they hear, and everything is so easily accessible. I had no idea because I had books in college. So he's like, oh no, Mom, we can just AI that. You know, so
and that's the problem. See, the thing is with college, and I agree that college is arguably it's a scam, right? We all can agree that you're essentially going there for the experience. But what it is that they're teaching you as well is structure, is discipline. These are the most important and vital things that you have to have in life, especially as a man. So if you remove that, then that is now causing and creating anarchy. That is causing chaos. That is now the author of confusion, and which is the opposite of good and God. So if we take all of that away and we remove all of that, we now have these unstable homes. We now have single moms. We now have young fathers, dads, men that's not taking care of their children, and it's just complete chaos.
Viz,
So
I noticed.
I'm
sorry.
I was
Go ahead.
I was gonna say this. You know, I understand what your son's mindset is like, but you know, I'm gonna say what me and Shane always used to say. You know, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. And you can see today that we have a lot of weak men today creating hard times for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? That not only at the upper level, but also at the community level, at the relationship, families, etc. And unfortunately, I'm just gonna be very blunt. A lot of young people need to go through the ringer. They need mud. They need to have mud on their boots. They need to know what it is to go through some pain. They need to know what it is to suffer. They need to know what it is to go through something. You know, like this cushy, because because what happens is when you don't treat them like that, and everything's so soft, this soft life type of stuff, what you gonna do once you get a little bit older and you get hit with some real shit? You're not prepared. You've never been prepared for that. Now you're here and now you can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? So how does that prepare you? Even at the work or corporate level, right? You gotta go through that. Like,
because you know you work so hard for your kids. I think that's what our generation did. We're like, we're gonna give them. They're not gonna have to do. I'm gonna do it everything.
We're gonna spoil the fuck out of them and create the exact people that we complain about and we talk about and point the finger at and say that they fucking up the community and all this other shit. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
I agree with y'all. I think when it comes down to the men and the boys,
not to pry too much into your business. When your son says these things, what does his father say when he hears his rhetoric when it comes out of his mouth?
Like, this is not your house. Like, you don't own this house. It's not your house. This is your mom's house. You gotta get out and get a job. Like, you gotta make your own way. Life don't work like that. I mean, what would any father say, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta figure it out. But my son is figuring it out because he got in a really, really bad car accident a couple of weeks ago. He shattered his hip, like all of this, right? Have like 3 different, and it's been rough. And so he is a very spoiled individual. But now he's saying things to me like, you know, I shouldn't have gotten in the car with him. You know, these guys aren't my friends, because to teenagers, your friends are your life, right? I could never tell him anything about these friends. Like, y'all, you know what I mean? So now he looking at it like, well, dang, I was in the hospital. Ain't nobody come visit me. You know what I mean? My mom is the only one that's showing up and showing out. And so he's starting to have an understanding, and he's starting to realize, like, dang, I'm a man, I'm 19. People ain't finna just wait on me hand and foot, because that was his expectation. Like, oh, everybody gonna wait on me hand and foot. I got and we like, boy, if you don't get up, do everything you need to do for yourself, take care of yourself. And it's been like frustrating to him, but I'm like, you have to take care of yourself. That's what I told him today. Like, nobody's doing this for you. You are a grown-up. Yes, you got in a car wreck. We are very sympathetic, but you have to get up and get it on your own. So I feel like at this point, he's kind of already getting the lesson early. It was a bad way, but I feel like he's trying to understand, like, I gotta figure this out.
I would definitely recommend you as a mother to pull back a little bit. I would definitely recommend that you pull back a little bit.
I am definitely a mama. I am like a mama bear, because I just told him today, like, I wish you had a girlfriend.
but even a girlfriend's not gonna help him, because he ain't gonna do but go from you to her, and that's it. And he's still not learning. So I would definitely recommend you to pull back, allow him to go through the like you said, like Luke said, get his feet dirty, get his hands dirty, and do what he got to do, and suffer a little bit, and take some bumps and some bruises. As long as it doesn't cost him his life or his freedom, he'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with taking those L's. I don't call them losses. I call them life lessons. Let him take some of them L's. As a man, that's what he needs, because that's how he's going to learn from his mistakes. Him falling down and getting back up, saying, hey, maybe I need to do a little bit differently than I did before, because this way it cost me a month or two. Now, if I do it that way, I'll be ahead of about 2 months. Yeah, you need to pull back on him a little bit, because if not, it's gonna be forever a burden, and and he'll never grow up.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying with the kids, because I'm like, dang, when I was 19, I was a grown up, like grown up. He couldn't even make his own doctor's appointment. I'm like, wait, what? Like, how do you get into college? But you take people to make a doctor's appointment. So I was like, what is going on? But they have no social skills. It's really crazy. Like, he graduated, like all of that stuff was during the pandemic. He missed out on years of school. Like, that really affected them, because I'm like, this man has no social skills.
And I just think a lot of things that a lot of these younger men was going through, and that's why I was saying, I feel like y'all right. Everything y'all said about how you should treat the man and how she should do with her son, but just going back to what Biz said, like about what people think, I think that's the reason why a lot of these boys not getting jobs at McDonald's no more, not really trying to go for Burger King, not really trying to get a career. They trying to stream, they trying to do the music, they trying to be, entrepreneur, but don't even have any really. And I'm not talking about your son, but I'm just talking about the younger generation and the men that's not working. They just feel like, I can do something else, I could do something that's more appealing, to the eye. They're too worried about looking a certain way versus being a man, if that make any sense. They just like, I don't want to work there. That lames work there. You feel me? Like,
I'm the mom that when
at the McDonald's,
I got my son a job. Like, I got him an internship.
You did too much. You should have made him get himself a job. Go out on.
But yeah,
guys, I have
I can pull the strings. I will do it. I got him an internship as a paid management internship at Sam's Club. So everybody was like, he needs to do that for himself. But I'm like, well, as a parent, aren't you supposed to make sure that your kids have?
Does he still work at Sam's Club?
The internship is over. He got a certificate and everything.
But after the internship, he didn't get a job. Did he want to work there?
No, college started. But
okay. So he went to school.
Now he can't do college because of the whole injury. But that's neither here nor there. But now every time he's like, Mom, I need you to give me a job.
But when y'all think about it, how many high school kids do y'all? I don't know about in y'all area, but in my area, I don't even see kids working at McDonald's no more. It be adults or minorities working in McDonald's.
I see young women working.
Get a better job.
I'm just saying, just starting at a young age, just working somewhere, getting money, building that discipline. You know what I'm saying? Like going back to what Ty said, when people switch jobs and stuff, kids are not even really going for like the regular job. They want to instantly be like, oh, I'm grown, we popping internet. They
No,
sampling. You
they
feel
not
me?
even.
It's not the same.
They not even doing that. In Chicago, I've went into multiple stores, gas stations, and it'll be kids 16, 18, 20, and they, man, big bro, you got $1? Hell no, nigga, walk your ass up in here and get a fucking job, bro.
That's what I'm saying. They too busy.
They either doing that or they scamming in Chicago. So, guys, I have a real quick question. When we talk about the family dynamic, right, and we spoke about how we should invest more in like having all members of our family stay together until they become accomplished and are able to get out on their own and go after their careers. Do you feel that that only applies to women? Like in most cultures, they'll keep the women until they're married and a man takes them, but then the men have to like go and establish their lives. Do you feel that that only applies to women and our boys should have to leave the house and figure things out when they're 18 so that they can figure out the world?
Well, I don't know about just figuring it out, just kicking them out. I think you have to give them the right, you got to give them the right set of tools to help guide them in terms of building up their confidence, right? Them being curious about their surrounding and being curious about the world, them instilling the confidence that they need, also the social skills, being able to talk to people, being able to build relationships with people. You know what I'm saying? Being able to have a conversation. I make this joke sometimes. I was like, if you drop me anywhere in like South America, I could get all the way to the US. You know what I'm saying? Just because of how I am and how I'm built, right? And my ability to just communicate and talk to people, etc. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't do that, even if you drop them somewhere, you know, in New York. They can't even get to Jersey. And there are life skills that our young people need that'll challenge. And as long as they have those, I think you can put them in a situation where you give them a little bit of room of freedom to roam and do what they got to do and allow them to grow. You know what I'm saying? Take the training wheels off. But unfortunately, if you don't instill those discipline skills, what hard work looks like, consistency, they're just gonna crash out, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then something else to keep in mind too is the earlier you start, the better that they will be off.
I was just going to say that, Lapeef. Like my children now, they all have chores. They have responsibilities around the house. I have a soon to be 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and 10-year-old. They're all 1 year apart, and they all have responsibilities. Somebody's clearing the dishwasher and putting the dishes away. Somebody's loading the dishwasher. My oldest son is taking out the trash. And then they're getting rewarded for it as well. So they understand that work yields, reward. So they're learning about money management. They're doing all of that now. They're like, did we get paid today? You know what I'm saying? And they're learning about how to take some of that money and put it into a savings pot and an investment pot and a giving pot. And I think that regardless of like the what we're doing with them when they turn 18, yeah, you can continue to live here, save your money, all of that. If we're not instilling good work ethic at a young age, I think it will definitely backfire.
I would
answer. He was trying to answer. Look, and Brittany said, "The hell with you, Lapeef. My answer's better."
Oh no! I wasn't. I was piggybacking off of what he was saying. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But Brittany, I commend you on doing that. But I would say, especially if they're young boys, I would say, don't give them no money for that. This is what you have to do as a young man. This is, you have to clean up the house. You have to clean up after yourself. There's no reward over that. The only reward that you get is having a clean house. That's just what it is. Point blank period. I would also say to all the women on the panel, in the chat, get your young boys into wrestling. Sports is going to teach your children, your young men, how to be confident. I believe that wrestling is probably one of the most intentional and beneficial sports for a young man to be in, for them to be able to apply that later on in life, all throughout life, how to deal with situations, how to become the better version of themselves. But going back to Brittany, stop giving them kids money for cleaning up. That's what they're supposed to do.
I get that. I understand they could get special jobs. My point of doing that was to really teach them about money management. But I hear you.
You can do that without compensating them for cleaning
up. For sure. I get that.
I'm gonna let JR go ahead first so he can finish. Then I'll go after you, JR.
And I kind of forgot my thought. Something else I want to add to what I was saying too, as well, is that you have to be an example too. It's kind of hard to try to tell your kids to do something that you're not actively doing within the household and just in your general life. You know, they're going to see you doing it. It's almost like biting your nails. They're sitting in the back seat watching you do everything. You're sitting out there, you're biting your nails, and then you tell them don't bite their nails, but they're getting it from you. They're watching every single move. So you have to be a positive example for them and at least try to get your life somewhere back on track. Or if it's not that way, then you should be having conversations, even at an early age, as to why it's not that way. You know, mommy made a mistake. Daddy made a mistake. This is what's supposed to happen. I know this is what you see. This is not the way that it should be. And you just got to kind of start teaching them lessons at an early age. You'd be surprised how smart kids are because they do mimic us. Like it's amazing to hear them say words that you didn't even know that they even knew. And they apply those words in the correct way. I'm like, damn, how did you figure that out? So just imagine if you was having actual conversations with them and stop feeding them that BS talk. Like talk to them like they're real people. You know, talk to them like they got some damn sense. So that they could, the earlier they understand this, like the better off. And then we'd be wondering why other countries, they be doing a lot of things at an early age is because their parents has been conditioning them much earlier than what we're doing. Like
y'all saw that interview?
Like they are preparing their kids, but we're too busy trying to shelter our kids.
Well, y'all seen them North Korean kids? Whatever.
They be cooking full meals and stuff.
Man,
full meals
and whooping ass.
So to answer, I think Ty was your question. Like we said, I would. There's no way. I didn't give my son no allowance. I told him same thing my dad told me. You get your allowance when you come to that kitchen table. That's your allowance. You get a meal, a hot meal on a daily basis. So he didn't get no allowance. As soon as he was tall enough to see over the lawnmower, he's outside cutting grass at the age of 8 years old. I didn't play no games. My daughters would say, "You spoil him." I said, "Baby girl, you and your sister here, both washing dishes, folding clothes, washing clothes, doing all the other things. He has nobody here. He was the only child. Once they moved on, he was the only child. He had to take care of everything. He had to fold clothes. He had to wash dishes. He had to cut that grass. My daughters never cut the grass one time just to learn how to do it. That was it. He always had to cut the grass. That was the thing I push in. Why? Because he's a young man. And there's more and high expectations. See, Ty, that's a double standard we're talking about. He had to do certain things. He would have to go ahead and do out and get on home. Daughters, they stay there because they want to be well protected, like you said, until they marry. I told my daughter, you can stay here as long as you need to until you act like you're grown. And then when you talk like I'm grown, cool, I'm going to treat you as such. I need half on this rent. I need some money on these bills. When you talk about it, you tell me you grown, I'm going to treat you as such because I don't raise no grown-ass man or woman. But like I said with my son, I made sure he had to do everything, learn everything he needed to learn how to cook, learn how to take care of himself. It was a must. So when he's out on his own, he could do that. Now he's off to college, playing college ball, he's able to do those things. That's not a thing he don't know how to do. He knows how to take it. And I didn't give him a dime. You got your allowance when you got new clothes, when you got new shoes every year for the basketball season. When you got to them AAU fees and we had to pay and make them travels, that was all your allowance right then and there. Don't ask me for no extra money. You know how I taught them how to manage your buddy's money? Shout out to Monopoly. That's what we use. Ask them, what did you want to do when you grow up? What was your job? We looked it up. We Googled whatever the career choice he wanted to do. We looked how much it was going to cost him. Where do you want to live at? We found out how much apartments was costing out there. What kind of car you want to drive? Cool. And I used that monopoly money and I took it from him. Hey, bud, you got to pay taxes. What's taxes out there in the state you want to live in? You got to pay those. And that's how you learn how to money. I also forced him to take financial literacy classes in high school. That was a must. He did it for 2 years. Matter of fact, I said, dude, as a freshman, why don't you take it? That's an easy A for you. You already know this shit. Take that class once you get to college. That's an easy A. So that's what I did with him. Force him. He didn't have a choice. You going to do the way I want you to. Yes, you're going to college. If you go, as long as you're going to get a scholarship, you're going to college. Now, if you wasn't on scholarship, I wouldn't recommend you go to college. I recommend you get a trade. That's what I would do.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, everything that Hink just said, I think that goes back to what Di had brought up earlier when dealing with a young man that's in his 30s and he doesn't know what the fuck he want to do. He clearly, that is a part of him not experiencing that or no one holding him accountable when he was at that age. Because during that time period, when you're younger, those are the times that you're able to dream, right? You can come up with this outlandish thing. I want to be an architect. I want to be an astronaut, a firefighter, whatever, right? And eventually that evolves. That continues to evolve over the time period. Now, once you turn 18 or 17, okay, this makes more sense. I like this field more. And now you get to looking into it. And just like Luis said, you now continue to evolve down the path. That was a part of my journey. I started off, I've always wanted to be an artist. I started off painting shirts, painting walls, working at the mall. That evolved to tattooing. That then evolved to me getting into the film industry. So it's a part of a man's journey that starts at a very early age, that you have to be able to dream. And if no one is not only allowing for you to do that, but also putting you in a position to where you're exposed and you're able to think for yourself and for your own, and nobody is holding your hand the entire time, then that's how it happens. But if somebody is holding your hand the entire time, what the fuck you got to think for? My mama gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? My daddy gonna do it. My grandma gonna do it. Somebody else is gonna do it, much rather than that person, you as a man, young man, doing it for yourself.
Yeah, and we had a conversation, one time on King Talk where we talked about, when dads, like when you're gonna go and work on the car, you're gonna change that oil. Don't go change the oil by yourself. Bring your son with you. You know what I'm saying? Show him how to change the oil. Where you remove the bolt, where you put the oil pan, all that stuff. When you have to renovate the house or you have to go paint, we are painting. You know what I'm saying? You bring your son with you to the Home Depot. Show them where everything is at, where all the tools, and go through that whole experience with them as if they're part of the team and they're also doing this as well. I went with my dad everywhere. Didn't matter. Buy a car, sell a car, get parts, paint, change the oil, change the tire. Didn't matter. I did everything. You know what I'm saying? In that, I learned all those. You'd be surprised how many men today at 25 don't even know how to change a tire, don't know how to change an oil to a car. And don't even know how to do these things. Don't even know how to cook. And the list just keeps on going. And unfortunately, we are creating the most weakest, generation of young men. And sort of like when I hear these things at times, and I hear it from women, they're like, oh, he's just so disorganized. He doesn't know how to do this, doesn't know how to do that. Again, I go back to wanting to see our young boys being confident, competent, and well-to-do, well-educated, and well-rounded, so they can find and align with women of their cloth that they can build a life with, right? But unfortunately, that they're just growing apart.
Ben, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, one of the biggest problems that we see, and I know a lot of young men in our communities don't have both parents. So in that situation, me personally, I grew up in a single parent home. Now, what my mother did was put me around men in church that was solid as fuck. She put me in sports where I was around coaches or around men that was solid as fuck. In school, outside of school, in the streets. So with me being exposed to solid, good men, that gave me the natural instinct to be drawn to them. And she also allowed for those men to chastise me, and she didn't get involved. So if you do have one of those type of men in your life that's willing to be a male role model in that young man's life, allow for him to toughen him up. If he got to hit him in his chest or whatever, don't baby him afterwards. Let him deal with that. But again, we got to step away from trying to coddle the children, the young boys, because that's your baby. You know what I'm saying? I get that's your baby, but your baby is going to stay a baby until you check out of this motherfucker. And you're not going to be proud of that.
I think that's the importance of the male and feminine energy, or the masculine and feminine energy, right? Like, it's natural and innate in us to nurture our children. Like, we see our children crying, we're going to pull them in. Like, we are built as women to be the nurturers, which is why it's so important for us to have that balance of having a male and female in the home. And when you don't have both, or have an outlet, like you said, Biz, where you can get that energy from somewhere else, there's going to be an imbalance, and we're going to have an issue, because no matter how hard I feel that women try, we still cannot replace a man, and vice versa.
I'm glad you said that, because being
nurturing of encouragement, and not nurturing of coddling. You know, there's one thing to coddle, it's another thing to just nurture encouragement. Right?
So Louis, I'm sorry, if I'm saying your name wrong.
Yep, that's cool.
Louis. I hate when people say my name wrong, so I apologize. But I was going to say, I understand what you're saying, but you're not a woman, right? So it's really easy for you to say how we should nurture and what nurturing should look like coming from a woman. But just like you guys would correct us when we try to speak about masculinity, right? Let's be honest, no matter how many different ways we try to morph it and change it, we cannot speak on masculinity because we are not men. So just as we should allow a man to, like Via says, punch our son in the chest and be like, okay, you also have to understand that if afterwards I run in his room and give him a quick hug, that's just in my nature. It's just what a woman is going to do. We want to protect our children. Once again, why the balance is necessary.
And that's what I wanted to kind of speak on. I'm glad you brought that up, about why it's both necessary. Because when they was talking about, he said some men don't know how to change tires and do all this stuff. And I'm like, and people wonder why I'm so emotional. It's like, I was raised by a single mom, and she was more coddling to my brother, but she was more stern on me because, one, she didn't have nobody. She had to play a masculine role. So she didn't have time for her own feelings. So every time I came in trying to be the little girl and be that damn mom, I'm right. What's all that whining for? Tough it up. I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? So then that creates women who's too independent, who comes off too emotional, too, because I never understood how to be. I never understood, because she shut off all her femininity. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you spoke on that, because it definitely, the same way it can affect a man by not having that masculinity in the household, just being by coddled too much, it affects women too, because that woman has to be in her masculine almost all the time to go to work, work, to go get the things that needs to get done. I was just talking to one of my ex coworkers, and she's older, like 50, 55. And she was like, I'm just not getting it about my boys. Why they live with their daddy. They daddy in the household. Why aren't they working like them? I said, well, every time they problem solve, you come downstairs. But he's not, the dad's not coming downstairs. And I know you want to help your boys, but when you come, you're coming from a place of emotion. What's going on? Da 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 da. In my head, because I was raised by masculine women, hearing the arguments, I'm like, why is you worried about that as a man? And even the daddy would be like, yeah, that don't even make sense. But when she's going downstairs, the way she handles it is more on like an emotional level. And then when a man do it, it just be different. So I'm glad you spoke on that, because I think that's what caused the disconnect in why people aren't getting married in today's society. Single mothers are raising hard ass women and creating soft ass men.
How does a mother play a masculine role?
She's not being emotional. She's not being nurturing. She's constantly paying the bills. My mother raised 3 kids for a long time by herself. She dated men that was younger than her, so she tended to make more money than them. And my mom was raised in a 2-parent household, so that's why this kind of like. And my grandmother is very, very nurturing. My granddad, provider. Even after him and my grandmother got divorced, he always paid the bills, always made sure everything was taken care of. So when my mom was raising me, I didn't get that. Okay, baby, like for me, when my daughter tries to be like me, because that first 2 years my mom was kind of like helping me with her. But I noticed while I was depressed, she was kind of dealing with my daughter most of the time when she was crying and stuff. And even that too, my mom was like, I just put your daughter in a room. I'm like, why? She was like, because she won't go to sleep. I'm like, she's 2, so you're gonna lock her in a dark room? Like, just imagine. I'm just thinking about why I'm the way I am. You know what I'm saying? She didn't nurture me because in her head she didn't have time to. I gotta go to work. I can't deal with these tears. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with that. She's not telling me breathe. Like when it comes to my daughter now, the advice I give my daughter is like, breathe, count to 10. What are you feeling? I don't know. You know, you just gotta breathe. Take your time, cry. You got it? Cool. Now I need you to speak. Now I need you to tell me what's wrong, because I can't help you if you can't articulate what's wrong versus shut all that crying up. I don't want to hear that shit. It's
That
two different.
that's not masculine though.
But it's masculine when it's a way that women push out masculinity. Like it's like a sternness. It's like, to me, like for instance, I feel like women teach the kids what to care about, and the men teach the kids what not to care about. Like, this ain't important. We need to focus on this. And when men do it, they don't do it like women do it. They're more logical. Like when my daddy do it, he not like, what's all that crying for? You need to cut that shit out. My daddy, because he's a masculine man performing masculinity, he's like, so let's talk this out. What's going on in your head? When I used to talk to him when he was sober, because I've had a few conversations with him when he's sober. And when he's sober, he's the, like, I see what a man's supposed to be. And I wish I had that, because my mom, I don't know if that's how she felt when her dad used to discipline her. I don't know if that's how she viewed masculinity, but the energy that was coming from her was masculine. And I didn't say it was a positive masculinity, but it wasn't nurturing. I know that for sure. I know that she always wanted me to not cry. And it's like she almost built me like how some men say, my mom didn't let me cry. She didn't let me do this. I felt like that. I felt like that was my story. I couldn't cry. I couldn't be soft. I couldn't come in the house and be like, Ma, these girls they trying to fight me. You gonna whoop their ass or I'm gonna whoop your ass. Like, it wasn't a lot of nurturing done in my household. And I feel like it's not because she didn't want to, but she really didn't have the time to as a single mother. She had other shit to worry about. What I was crying about, them emotions, she couldn't worry about that because she had to pay the bills. She couldn't focus on it. I don't got time for that shit. You the oldest too. I was the oldest too, so I'm the help. I'm doing the stuff that my daddy and them supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm doing the shit she's supposed to be doing. My
Well,
sister don't cry. My little sister used to tell me, damn it, I came to you because you the one I knew I could go to. I knew you could listen. She still comes to me to this day because she feel like my mom is not. You feel me? Like, she like, nah, mommy gonna tweak. I need something. I need to learn how to deal with this because I know I'm finna tweak. You know I'm a spaz, but I know you gonna say it in a way that's, yeah. Go ahead.
Let's just point out real quick though that everything that you described that your mother was doing, that's not masculine.
To me, it was masculine. She wasn't nurturing. So
But
anything that's not feminine is
that's fair. I understand that. And
aggressiveness to me is
hold on, let me finish.
masculine.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
I understand all of that, and I'm sorry that you experienced that, but that's not what masculinity is. So I think that
No,
I
he
think
didn't say
that
what it is. That's some trash ass parenting. That's what that is. That's some trash ass parenting.
yeah,
Well, she did
that's
have
Need your
me at
goddamn
17,
nerve.
so at 17 years
I
old, you're
understand,
bound to make a
but
lot of mistakes. But yeah,
yeah, but that's still
I'm
some
glad she
trash ass
took
parenting, bro.
accountability for it.
yeah. So I think that we have to get out of the habit of labeling stuff like that as masculinity, because that's not being masculine. That's what we call toxic. That's simply just being toxic.
So you want to know why I said masculine too? When men do things, they cannot operate off emotion. My mama had to take all emotion out in order to parent us.
That's
That's what I'm
still
saying.
that's
She
this
wasn't
it's
as
still that's still two different things. Uh,
okay. Well, regardless of what it
handling
is, that was the effect of having a single mother.
that's fair. All I'm saying is let's stop putting that label that locking a 2-year-old in a room is masculine. That's not what it is at all.
She thought it
That's
was
all I'm saying.
discipline. She thinking like, okay, well, I understand what you're saying. I'm not talking about that part. I was talking about more so the aggressiveness and lack of not lack of empathy, but her not being able to pay into my emotions. When I hear y'all talk about when men have to get things done, like, and I hear Hink say like, we can't be emotional. We can't worry about that. We have to think about what this is. We can't worry. We got to worry about what's gonna keep the roof over the head, what's going to keep you survive, what's going to keep me providing for you. That's what I meant. Now
But
that
I
caused
only say
lack.
that because you pointed out how your father talked to you when he was sober.
Yes.
So that's a masculine approach to it.
Yes, but he took emotion out. So it's two different ways of taking emotion out. When she took emotion out, it was complete lack of empathy. Whereas he did it in a positive way, because I don't think women should be trying to display masculine traits. So when she shows it, it's gonna be not a good form. It's gonna look toxic. Like men typically be the ones to not care about emotions. Be straight on logic, make sure you focus, make sure you're getting things done. So I apologize if my examples made you feel like that those are examples, because I don't think I've ever seen a man really do that to a baby. But when women tend to lose their empathy and that femininity, they get real cold. It get real cold. So yeah, maybe it's not masculinity, it was her lack of femininity. Let me correct myself.
Amen.
I mean, in essence, I don't believe that men and women are equal. So I know Hinky said a blanketed term. I've never believed that. I don't want to run the show. I don't want to drive mentally, physically. Like, no, I'm good on it. No, the topic of do women really want equality or just selective benefits? I don't want full equality. The draft has never been mandated for women. We can keep it that way, keep it where it's at. Like, no. I just play my role and I play it well and what I do, and that's what I worry about. We're not equal.
Yeah. Welcome to the dark side, Ali.
I mean, there's layers to all of this.
Yeah.
Hey, Viz, they love the dark side, whether they want to admit it or not.
Come on, Kelly. You know you want to call.
I'm over it.
Yo, Kelly has been having this poker face all night. She's like,
I'm freezing right now. Sorry.
don't tell me it's 20 in Chicago already.
No, it's not 20, but it's kind of cold.
Yeah, it was 25 here the other day.
It's been windy.
Hey, I just have a general question. How long does it take for somebody to know if that's the person that they should marry?
2 days.
2 days.
That's
I can't. I just watched Love is Blind, so my mind is stuck on that still. That drama.
Crazy.
2 weeks. I'm sorry I brought it up.
Which contestants are y'all talking about? Which one specifically?
Tyler and Ashley.
Tyler and Ashley broke my heart. Well, Tyler kind of broke my heart. Like, they were amazing. Their chemistry was amazing. They were beautiful couples together. I just loved them. And then, of course, it had to be a bomb drop. Like, why couldn't we just know this ahead of time, Tyler? Why you just didn't tell us the pause that you had kids? Just say that. Just say you had
they were.
And then the
he
ex-wife
donated sperm.
Donated sperm, but actually, he donated and
so I guess I'm gonna ask my question first.
Okay.
No, they said the hell with your
We
question.
got lost. We got lost. Sorry.
Talk about love and blind.
I got excited.
Yeah, you start talking about
your question,
because there's married people in there that met after 2 weeks.
I can answer your question seriously, Dale. I mean, not a love is blind question. I think within a year, you'll definitely have a true idea. I know that's probably what happened to me. It took about a year to know for sure.
Does it ramp up?
Well, did it take a year or did you wait a year to get married?
I waited 2 years before I got married to her, but it was a year I knew. After that first year, I knew she was the one. That's what I knew. And now it's all about making sure she's consistent with this and making sure she's got everything in line that I need to have in line, making sure she's making the proper adjustments, making sure her kids are in order and they are all on board with the relationship and the transition that we're about to make. So yeah.
I'm happy for you, Hank.
Yes, Hank, it's so wonderful.
But did you know,
hey, y'all ladies, you know what y'all need? Y'all need a Hank in y'all life. And then y'all won't be talking like this. Y'all won't be having these issues. You'll be solid. You'll be secure. You'll be in a good place. But
it's only one Hank, though.
Did it take
one you, Hank?
Did it take
you
one?
I deal with a Hank
Hold on, y'all.
I deal with a Hank
Hold on.
husband. That's two different Hanks. Like, maybe it's my daddy, I could deal with it, but as my husband, hell no, Hank, you was too strict. Hell no.
No, that's what you need.
That's exactly
what you need.
No.
Tom King energy.
No. I suppress my emotions too much already. No.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, what's your question?
No, I have a question that Kelly had a question for.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
I usually hear men say, when you know, and it's almost an immediate thing. So did it take you one whole year, 12 months to figure out if she was the one? Hank?
No, it didn't take me 12 whole months. No, nothing like that. But there's other factors that you got that comes into play, right? You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure everything line up. So my wife, she has kids. So you got to make sure those things in order. I'm not going to marry a woman who has kids who are not respectful or that's well taken care of, well disciplined and more mature. That's one of those things I had to learn with them. So the first year I didn't meet her kids at first, you know, so during that time period, I'm learning her kids as they learn me to knowing I'm about to, you know, become a new fixture in their life. So all of that's in the play right then and there. But as far as me actually married, it's probably about between the 8 to 9 months I was on, but I say a year because I needed to make sure everything's on the up and up with the kids, that they know there's a new man in life. I'm going to be calling the shots. They're going to have to get in line, fall in line like soldiers, or else they got to get the hell on.
Yeah,
I guess that's a die, not ready to accept. It's called structure die. That's all it is. And some women need structure in their life. Sounds like you need a man with structure, and you will be having these emotional issues.
I need a man with understanding. That's what I need.
Very key.
Structure. I'm cool. Thanks, but thank God for my mom. But just understanding. I don't want to have to cry and do all that stuff. Just let me tell you how I feel.
Well,
You
no,
understand and deal with it. That's it.
You're simply a crier, and there's nothing wrong with that. So all you
Hey,
need is
yeah, I
some
cry when the police
structure.
pull me over. When the police pull me over, I have a script. I have to let them know, hey, this is who I am. I am here. I can hear you. This is just how I react.
Lord help
I
us
did
all.
something wrong and I'm caught. This is how I act. And they
Oh
like, for
shit.
real? I'm like, yeah, so go ahead, do your spiel, but don't let this affect you. Still talk to me the way you need to talk to me. I know I'm emotional. I could deal with that.
Jesus Christ. Hey, JR, what's your question, brother? What's your question, JR?
No, I had a question. Somebody had a question on the panel, but Biz want to say something. Ask the question.
Yeah, so I've filmed maybe about 100 weddings. So I've spoke with 100 different grooms, and every single one of them I ask them the same question. When did you know? And typically, for the most part, all of them would say within 6 to 12 months. So I think that is the sweet spot of where a man would understand or know at the minimum if I can really consider spending, the rest of my days with this woman. So I think realistically, if that man is intentional about finding a wife, that's typically the sweet spot.
You gotta see him in every different season.
Okay, so what about you, Viz? Because didn't you just got married, right?
Yeah, I'm engaged.
Oh, okay, well, so how long did it take you to know she was the one?
So I would say the same. It was about 6 months, 6 to 12 months. Within that range, it was like, okay, I can see this, going long term.
Nice. Oh, how many other lover boys do we have on the panel today? Okay, that's it, I guess.
But I think the reason why I said that about the guy, because my BD, the one I'm still not over. I feel like by him validating my emotions, I wasn't emotional in life. But after he passed and I didn't have anyone to understand where I was coming from, my family and them used to look at me crazy, like, what's going on? I've never seen you cry this much. And it's like, is it really something that wrong? But then it's like, nah, I want to be a girl. I'm tired of being a hard body. I want to be a girl.
You want
I
to
mean,
be? Yeah.
I used to
Yeah,
date a lot of
why
women
can't you
because
be a
I was scared
girl?
of men when I was younger. I was
Monkey
scared to
boots.
date men. I was so scared.
Tap into that feminine energy, honey.
I've been doing it, girl. I've been doing it, girl. A lot of people can't take it, but that's okay. It's once I get control of it, it's gonna be some. It's gonna be.
Chef's kiss.
It's only natural.
It's a process, but I'm loving the process. I love being emotional. I love being in my feminine, and I love being like, it's like now God has cleared out people who can't deal with me, and now people like, girl, it's okay. I feel like that. I'm like, okay, cool. Okay,
Wait.
let me breathe.
Did you
Let me
just say
breathe.
people that can't deal with you?
Yeah, they couldn't deal with me. They just like a lot of my friends, they so used to me being happy. So when I wasn't like, I come out and I'm not happy and I'm just sad, it's like almost the whole room could feel it. And they just like, nah, I don't want to invite her out no more. Like, nah, we can't deal with that. She too emotional. Like, we
Dad,
can't
come
deal with
on, man.
You a
I'm being
full-time job,
serious.
man.
I'm
You got a
being
full-time
serious.
job.
God damn.
Oh, dead
Christ.
serious. That's grief. When you don't know how to grieve, that's how it come out.
I mean, your candidness is definitely endearing.
Yeah,
It's definitely.
I definitely.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I definitely appreciate you being transparent, but come on, man.
It's a part. I'm telling you, it's a part of my life. I'm so used to being there for people and people pleasing and have to be the strong person for people. I never got a chance to be vulnerable, and it's now affecting me. Like, I still try to be like hard body, like now, but if I do, then it just randomly comes out. It just spews all over the place. So when I'm emotional about something, I have to feel what I'm feeling in order to learn how to deal with it. And the more I do it, the better I get at it. This is something I should have been going through when I was little. You feel
That's
me?
what I was gonna say. Di, you cry
So
now because you didn't get to cry when you were younger.
yes, basically. Long
Let's
story
You
short.
got a lot of suppressed emotions. This is
Go ahead,
something.
Dan.
Long
Let it
story
out, Dan.
short.
Yeah, let's everybody get a group hug, big group hug.
Come here, Dad. Oh, what mine was?
I'm on an Apple iMac.
Oh.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Guy, I mean, Asian moms aren't receptive of that emotion stuff ever. But I tried once to go to my mom crying about a dish. She's like, "That's okay, you can get another one."
Don't worry, it's
she don't
me.
say none of that stuff. She's like, whatever.
I like my mom. I said that to my mom, and she got mad. I grew up with my dad. She was like, "Oh, I know you're so sad," and I'm like, "Mom, there'll be another." She got so mad.
How dare you say that? Yeah, my mom wasn't really emotional when I was growing up, but I used to force my love on her. Like, that's the type of child I was. I would go and like lay on her. She would like, Taya, it's like, no, you're going to take my love. Or if I say like, I love you, when I was younger, especially, and she didn't say I love you back, I would come back like, I said, I love you. Like, I love you too. Okay. Come on now.
My sisters do that. And I be feeling like, oh, this because you like them and you don't like me. But then when I look at the steps they had to take, like they had to force themselves on her. I'm like, dang, I wish I came first and told me that.
I'm the oldest. I'm the first of all
That's
boys
crazy.
too.
Maybe that's what I need to do with my mama, because I've been trying to mend our relationship, but I guess since she's used to had cut me off when I was younger, when I come to her with the emotion, she's like, nah, I ain't trying to hear that shit. So I'm gonna just go one day and lay in her bed. I'm like, you gonna deal with this. You gonna rub my back while I cry. You help create these wounds. You gonna help heal them today. Cause she wants to be there. I could tell she do. And
she might not know how that.
Yeah, that's why I say I'm gonna just have to do it. Cause my sister come to me because she got her son is in football, but the football coach has not been like doing what he said he was gonna do, and she needs him because my nephew don't have that many good people in their life. So she was like, I need to figure out how to say this to him, but I'm a snap, and I can't go to mommy because she gonna snap. Tell me how to write this. I say, I got you. And here, nigga, I know I got this. So I wrote out the text, and as soon as she got the text back, she was like, he understood. He got it. Because usually when she talked to him, that man be going off on her, like, who is you talking to? And I'm like, nah, you can't say
From the
that.
east side?
You can't say that. Can't say that. You got to be a little bit more empathetic, like, calm down, breathe.
That must be on the west side.
You said who?
I said that must be on the west side.
West side, South 290.
But
all my blood relatives from out south, 160.
That's so shy. You're so shy. Well, I was traumatized as a kid, so grew up in a single household.
What you mean traumatized?
Well, my mother, she forced me to tell the time at the age of 2.
At 2?
Yeah, at the age of 2, I was able to tell the time on an analog clock. So she used to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You gonna get this shit? You gonna get this shit?
If Johnny had 2 apples.
Oh my God.
Y'all know what though? The pandemic taught me that it is extremely hard to teach your children if you don't have patience. Like, teachers are so underrated. Cause I was that parent. I had to like pull myself back. Like, you looking at this, and I just told you what the answer is, and we still don't know the answer. It's hard, y'all.
I think it's hard because some of the shit you don't even know. You're like, what the hell is this?
And they all have these new ways.
It's like you're doing the homework instead of them.
Yeah.
So it's like, I didn't sign up for this. What you did? I didn't sign up for this.
Jay, I'm not even there yet though. Like, I get it, but it would be certain things, and I don't know. I had to think about it that maybe sometimes I don't realize how I may come across to my daughter. Like, she is picking up on my frustration, and it's making her anxious, and she's not able to focus because I will give her the answer and then say, okay, so now this plus this is what. And she'll still say the wrong thing. It's like
it's the way you react. My daughter do that.
Like,
my daughter do that. We put too much pressure. My daughter do that. I have to when I do that, I have to like joke with her. I'm like, girl, like, okay, hold on. You go upstairs, take a breather, come back down. Listen, it's not that serious. I just gave you the answers. You can't think because you're so worried about how I'm gonna react. So let's go upstairs. We finna play this off, laugh it off, come back downstairs. Let's get back to it. Because my daughter, she gets like that.
I don't do that.
She
I gotta
can't
walk
think.
away. Like refocus. Like
that's the best thing. Yeah.
Hang on that head, rub it.
Yeah, just let me walk away for a second and let me like, okay, because I'm a snap. And I know I probably shouldn't snap. It's not a snapping moment.
Then you come back and apologize. It's like, mommy love you. I didn't mean this. I didn't mean to yell at you.
He sounds just like me.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd be like, you know this answer. Like you are so intelligent and I need you to not get worked up. Like
and
let's
just so
calm
you guys
down.
know, Luis looks disgusted. You guys
I mean, I was going to say a gentle PSA. There's
kids.
nothing wrong with private or parochial schooling because my parents didn't even entertain none of that. They're like, well, we're not, we got a language barrier going on. So we're just, nope, we're going to send them to the parochial school to let the teachers help you figure out how to add, subtract, all that stuff. So.
I do.
Yeah, y'all appreciate educators after that, after the pandemic.
Yeah, the pandemic was something different, Allie. You couldn't send them anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was nowhere to send them.
Like I love the kids though, so I can't relate. But the anger part, I was becoming like my mom. One day my daughter told me, she said, "Can I be honest with you, mommy?" I said, "What?" She said, "When you talk to me, you sound like you don't like me." I'm like, damn. Like shit.
Hey, hold on 1 second, y'all. Search shot $2 says agree with Hink and Viz. Even Ty had a point. And me
even
if you was a first day. I think everybody's tuning in tonight. Catch us next Wednesday.
So
tomorrow we live Thursday. You want to say something, Luis? I mean, we can still hang out, but you want to say something on the live?
Yeah, I was gonna say something. Since we're on the subject, do you guys, ever figure out what your child's like learning style is? Like, like are they more visual? They're more hands-on. I think that's very important because although we might know the answer because obviously we're just that much more in tune, but I think sometimes it's how it's just how sometimes how things are presented in the way that you go about it. I mean, sometimes you gotta put things in almost like a game format, and some things like a puzzle, or even just more of a interactive kind of exchange. But I think understanding your child's sort of like learning style, because every child just learns differently. So
it's different neurodiversities.
Yeah. So, Luis, the answer for me is no. I didn't know it first. After the pandemic, I put my daughter in a Montessori school, and their approach to education is just totally different than most public charter schools altogether. And they're dealing with like math and everything. In the beginning, they use materials. So it's very visual, right? And my daughter loves like art and using her hands and stuff. So I realized that she is a visual learner. She picks up things quicker when it's displayed to her and she's able to touch things with her hands and get a feel. And it makes sense in her mind if she could put it together. But before that, no, I didn't know what type of learner she was because she was still really, really young too. She was only in preschool through COVID, and I was just trying to keep her on a track and not let her fall off since she had to take the whole year out of school.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And also keep in mind, don't be so quick to allow those schools to label your children. And that plays into what Luis is saying. And maybe your child may have a different learning style. And maybe you might understand your child better than that teacher, because some teachers want to teach the children all the same way, and they don't really have time to cater specifically for your child. So just be knowledgeable of what's going on with that teacher, seeing how they teach. Even if you have an off day, instead of doing self-care, maybe you should take a trip to the school and just sit in for a little bit, see see what's going on.
Or hire a tutor.
That's a very good point, JR. I got sent to summer school for math and reading because they didn't think that I spoke English, but I was just terrified of all the other kids.
Really?
Terrified. Got dropped in an all-white town. I didn't speak. I was damn near mute. I knew what I was doing. I just didn't care to participate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put my daughter in summer school for math just because I wanted her to excel.
We just close the show. We can still stay in the back chat for whoever want to stay. Hit the like button. Make sure y'all subscribe. We out. Appreciate y'all.